For real. Proper video game capture. Alright, here we are. My homeland of Arizona. Featuring dust storms, cacti, blinding lights. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to fix this shit. So I thought a little bit about the problem that we were having here, and just to fill people in who are curious what was wrong with this. This system only works if the plants are fully grown when I activate it. What are you, cat eye? Did I say cat eye? I said cacti, or cactuses, if you will. Not cat eye. Come on now, don't be like that. I'm not that bad at talking, am I? Don't answer that. Anyways, I want to fix this. And my thought on how to fix this is that we basically need this to auto-cycle until the storage is filled, and then we need it to turn itself off, is kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to think about how to do that. We don't really have control over when the plants are growing, so I just need it to, like, try to harvest them every few seconds, replant them a second later, and just do that on loop with the auto arm turned on until the storage is filled, and then disable it. And that means we need to play with some toys that we haven't yet, and I haven't played with these either, but theoretically I know what to do. In practice, I have no idea if I actually know what to do, so maybe we'll learn something. I need to make sure I have a couple things unlocked. Yeah, I need power switch and power sensor. I have power sensor right here. Okay, I do believe we have them all.
You were cutesy witsy cool kitty witty.
Thank you. I was kind of wondering what the bot would sound like saying that. Thank you for the bits. Anyways, we need to print a bunch of sensors. I think these just cost a bunch of zinc, so I'm gonna make a few of each. You did it earlier. Was it that same one? I know you did some shit posting with the bits, but I don't remember if it was that exact line or not. I might have kind of phased it out, because it was probably horrible. Well, it shows that I'm not paying attention. I still appreciate the bits, and I mean, it's more for you than me to have the bot just like type out your shit posts or speak out your shit posts. Anyways, let's make a few power sensors, and I'll explain how these work as I'm setting it up. Okay, you did something like that. I don't doubt it for a second. I just forgot because I'm a simpleton and a bad streamer, and I apologize. Oh, these look exactly like storage sensors. Okay, I guess they kind of have a different icon in the back, but not quite the same. So we need power sensors and power switches. Yeah, these things. Oh, those only cost copper, really? We're gonna run out of copper. I'm out of copper. I hope we can do this with one, otherwise we're gonna have to go down and get more.
Meow. 2. Cutesy witsy cool kitty witty. Choo choo. Train. Wow. 2. Ethical.
I like how these neb gold like shit posts are just like blending into mine. I don't even know why you keep putting the 2s in it. I don't think you've answered that for me. You must really just like the way that the bot says 2. Oh cool, all of these things died for some reason. I probably like planted them and didn't. Okay, it sounds dumb. That's a good reason. I probably like placed the seeds and didn't actually harvest them. Q. Okay, so we need a couple of timers and maybe another proximity repeater. I'll just grab the one over here because it's not doing any good where it is. Alright, I need to make a couple delays. How do I do that? Delay repeater, just zinc. Good. Fun fact, you can stack these things like this for some reason. I think they kind of trigger themselves in a chain. I can test that now, actually. Let's see if I activate the bottom one. I can't activate the bottom one. I need a button repeater. See if I can do this. This will allow for more compact like storage for these things. Okay, yeah, they do actually chain. It activates the bottom one and then the top afterward. Okay, good. That'll make this easier for like quick chains like that. So I need to do that, and I might need a count repeater as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and make one of those. I will try my best to explain what all these do. If you're actually curious, feel free to ask. And I'll try to explain it better, because I might do a shitty job the first time around. I think I got everything I need for this. To set up like one of these. So the premise here, let's disconnect everything since we know this shit doesn't work, and just kind of think about what I need to be doing here. So when the storage empties out, which is going to happen with this storage sensor, I need to send a signal that turns on a loop that will infinitely cycle the harvesting process until it's full, at which point I want it to turn off again. So I want a battery for this, preferably a charged one. And the way you make logic gates in this game is you cut off these sensors. I'll wait.
The earth is filled almost to the center with gnomes or pharaohs, a people of small stature, the guardians of treasures, of mines, and of precious stones. They are ingenious, friends of men, and easy, sick, to be commanded, sick. They furnish the children of the sages with a
sick. Oh, okay, that's over now. That's it. I'm not sure, I don't think I have any control over how long it'll talk. I think it just cuts off at that point. That might have been like 15 seconds or something. Sick. Alright, anyways, back to what we were talking about here. Logic gates in this video game are based around power and power switches, and I don't know of a better way to do this. But essentially, this thing kind of, I'm sure there's a word for it. Somebody who knows what they're talking about, they're, oh, that's a diode or something. And I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, I don't know what the terminology is for this stuff. But the point is, you attach it like this, and then you have an output and a power sensor that reads from it. So this is a power switch, we have a few sensors. And if I want to have something that turns on and off on a toggle, I can use the power sensors like this. And then I could have something attached on the other end. Like, whatever, doesn't really matter. That's a thrumble, okay, thank you. I'm glad you're an electrical engineer, I'll remember from now on, that's called a thrumble. Alright, so pretty much you have a power supply going through this. And then if I wanted to turn the power supply off, I just do this, it cuts it off, and that sends a pulse through this. And you can kind of use these things to, like, do a toggle state. I maybe explained this really shittily. The point is I think I need this. So we're going to see how this comes in. I believe I have all the pieces that I need. I need to kind of have an initial pulse go in and turn on a count repeater that'll harvest the plants. Or not a count repeater, a delay repeater. So let's just kind of whip up a test for this. So I pull one off the storage. It's going to fire the first delay repeater. I'll set these to be like really slow so I can see them. I don't know for sure, I think that each one of these units of delay is a 1/6 of a second. So this should be 2 seconds of delay, which is enough time for me to react to it. So I'll just set them both to 12. I'm not sure, but I think it's 10 frames. I think this game runs at 60 FPS, and every 10 frames it does like a circuitry calculation. Not 100% certain about that. But it'll fire that one off, and then it'll fire that one off. And what we want to do with that is have a proximity repeater. So we actually need a couple of these. I want to fire the proximity repeater once. This will dig up all the plants, if there are any. And then I want this to fire it off again after another delay to replant them after they've settled a little bit. And I can just use a button repeater to simulate this if I wanted to, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then what I want is for this one here to re-trigger the first one. So that's the first step of this, is to set up this little circuit here. And this will just kind of put it in an endless loop. Let me do this. This will trigger the system, and it'll actually stay active. Okay, so they're triggering back and forth, and the problem here is I need like an AND gate that basically says I only want these to trigger if this storage sensor is not filled. So that's where I think this nonsense that I set up over here is. I need to set up a system that will only do that if it's supposed to. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head how you would do that. because I've never messed with this stuff in this game anymore, so this is, I gotta like kind of develop like the mental, I don't know how to say this. Basically, I gotta learn how to do it. I was trying to think of something more clever to say, but I have to learn like off the top of my head how to solve these kinds of problems in this video game. So how do I disrupt this circuit when this condition is not met? How do I make an AND gate in this video game? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. And it's a little bit weird in a game that has toggles. This is kind of like Terraria's system where things are sent in pulses and devices get toggled and by single pulses rather than the steady states that Minecraft has where just a redstone signal is either on or off. It's kind of more conceptually easy to make AND gates in Minecraft because of that. But in this game, I kind of need to figure out how to do that a different way. So I'm kind of looking at this and trying to figure out how would I make an AND gate. And I think I want to have a system where this would only fire off if it had a power supply. So let's see what happens here. I could have two of these. I think you might need two of these in a chain to make an AND gate. Basically, they both have to be enabled. And then they'll send a signal through. Okay, I think that might be it. So let's make two power sensors. Alright, I need two power... That's a power switch. Do I need copper for that? Is that the thing I don't have enough of? I might need to make another power switch. Let me see what that was. Power switch. Oh god, that's the one that needs copper. Okay, we're going to just quickly use the trade platform to get this to save me some time. Just get a bit of malachite real quick. Eventually I need to go down into the mines and set up a proper copper mine, but I don't want to do that right now. So let's just go get like a bunch of these. Yeah, 4 of them should be fine. Alright, so while that's going on, let me think about what else I would want to do over here. Yeah, I think I see what would happen here. I would have 2 of these chained together with a battery. One of them is powered by this thing over here, and the other one is powered by this circuit. It's hard to be sure this is going to work correctly until I actually go ahead and test it. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait for this before I like snarl up my words and clearly lose track of what I'm doing. We have the malachite that we needed, so let's go smelt that immediately. And once we get 1 copper, we can go test my theory for how to do this. Then I'll probably go make an auto extractor and actually get a proper copper mine going, because we're gonna need more of these by making more complicated circuitry than this. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. And let's go hook it up. So like this, like this. Alright, then we're gonna have 2 of these. So this button repeater is simulating the thing that turns on and off the system. So let's say it's turned off right now. We do that. And then we have this system here. Let me unplug this one since we're not going to use that right now. And let me disconnect the system so it stops cycling. I'm just clean up all the pins. I'll rebuild these in a second here. Okay, let's see here. So this one is on already. So I'm going to power this. It's going to turn on. Why do I need the second one to... Why do I need the second one? Because these would be alternating on and off. So I would turn this on, it'll activate this one. These are both going to need target pins on the floor, so let me build those now. It'll go ahead and activate the proximity repeater to farm the plants. Then this one will replant them kind of a second later. And then instead of this one going back to the first one and creating an infinite loop, I think this is the part where I need to use this thing to decide whether or not a pulse gets sent back through. Because this thing is going to... Let's see, what are the modes? Okay, I can make it only get powered specifically on the rising or falling edge of the signal. And I could also do it when it's gained or lost. So let's say that I only wanted it to activate when power is gained. So that's going to activate the first one, hit this thing, trigger the second one, which will hit this thing again. And then the second one is going to toggle this particular sensor here, or this power switch here. I think I need it to be hit by both of them, so that it turns back on. I think I need to do something like this, if I'm understanding any of this correctly. So what's supposed to happen here is this thing should cycle until I turn it back off with this button repeater. Now let me move this far away enough that it doesn't activate its own mechanisms. Okay, this is what we wanted so far. So what's happening is every second trigger on this power switch, it turns on and it refires the power sensor, which basically triggers the loop again. But then if I turn this off, then that signal just gets consumed and nothing happens, and the system, I think, is just reset at this point. I do this, it starts the system again. Okay, I think that's actually it. I think I got this. That seems to work. And I would need to set one of these up for each plant type. I don't have the resources to do that right now, but we're going to have them soon. But I think this is actually what I needed to set up. And I probably want to use a longer delay on this. Let's see, where do I want to intercept it as well? Because I want it to immediately fire off the proximity repeater when the whole system starts. And then I want it to go into the cycle. So can I bypass that step? Let's see, we're not quite done yet. The auto arm would just get toggled directly by this here. So the auto arm will just be on as long as the rest of the system is cycling. Unfortunately, none of this actually drains the battery. It just needs something with power in it, and then it has 0 power draw on the battery for the entire duration that it's running, so I do not have to worry about that. Oh, I attached it to a Gideon. I missed that message. I really do have problems reading your messages. I should have thought about that. Which of these things is a Gideon, by the way? If you don't mind me asking, or is that too stupid of a question for you to answer? Because I understand, I definitely don't know what I'm talking about. Like, you seem to be the professional on this subject matter, so I'm sure you'd be happy to tell me what a Gideon is. So anyways, the last thing that I wanted to do here was get a direct signal to this. I could just attach this pin to the repeater as well, but I think there's a smarter way to do this. To bypass that. Okay, well, first of all, I want this one to have a much longer delay. I can stack a couple of these if I want to stall it more, or add a count to it as well. There's a couple ways that I could do that. For now, we're just going to go for a long delay like this. But what I want to do is I want to fire the proximity repeater immediately, and then this one. And then I want to go through the cycle with this delay repeater again, but I only want to activate this delay repeater if this condition is still being met. I want the AND gate to go right before this delay repeater because I want the thing to stop operating after a harvest and replant. Harvest being when I uproot the seeds, and then the replant is the second time that I fire the proximity repeater a couple seconds later to replant them. The easiest way I could think of to do this is to just attach it like this and then also have one over here. I think there's logically a more efficient way to do this, but it kind of doesn't matter. If I think of a better way to do this along the way, I'll go for that. Let's see, what's that? That's gonna get that out of sync though, because it's gonna fire this one off. And that's actually fine. That's kind of the equivalent of starting here. Firing it. It's just as though this delay repeater had fired. And then it's going to unconditionally wait the 25 cycles and then fire again. And it's a little weird. It doesn't feel right. I'll come back to that. Right, so look, we got the initial harvest, and then it goes into like the two pulses back to back like this, and then it waits a little while, and then pulses a couple times again. And that should be fine for now. And I can turn it off by sending another signal, no matter where it is in the state. Okay, I think that's everything I needed to figure out how to do here. We do need to get some copper. I have plenty of aluminum. We do not have a system set up for copper. It's going to be roughly the same as the aluminum system, and I think for now the goal is to just set up an auto extractor and get that started, just so I don't run out of it later. So do I have the resources to make more of these? I should. I have rubber, carbide, steel, exo chip. We should be able to make all those things. How am I doing on tungsten? Still good on tungsten. We have tons of steel. I think I made this earlier for something else. I don't know what the something else was. I think I was going to make silos or something, but whatever, we'll just repurpose it for this. I'll regret it later. We need exo chips. I'm going to probably make 2 of these auto extractors pretty soon here, so I'm going to gather all the resources for 2 of them. The last thing was the rubber. Need 1 more rubber, so I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of these, or at least get the resources together for 2 of them. Okay, that's 1. I have a canister I can start filling up. I'm not going to set up the rails for it immediately. I'll do that after I've got the extractor like up and running. I might run a rail down there, I guess, just to get power to it, but I'm not going to have the train set up immediately. So let me go grab some rail posts. I don't have any. Okay, well, we can make more. 10 should be enough. I'm pretty sure there's some copper very close by. Okay, good. And I believe I have all the ingredients together to make another one of these in a moment. Hopefully none of these fall through the ground while I'm doing this. I really wish these colors were more distinguishable on these items here, because I have no idea which of these is argon until I mouse over it. I just got lucky there and got it first try. But yeah, we got bluish purple nitrogen, the teal argon, a slightly different shade of teal helium, a different shade of teal methane. I don't know what they're doing with that. At least the hydrogen and the sulfur are easier to recognize, though they both look like the same color. They're both orange and then reddish orange. Oh, I couldn't have just made a gas yellow or something. Oh well. I'm griping about little things here. While this is printing, let's go ahead and start making the pathway to get down there. I'm planning on using this pit for multiple rails. We have the aluminum. We're probably going to have a couple of like regular resources, and then the copper is also going to use this pit. And if I accidentally carve out some of the terrain, that's not too big of a deal. I can fix it later. For now, let's just get things up and running. We'll polish it off later. So let's get the rail posts. What are my snails doing? This one's about to finish its food here. Now, whatever, I'm right here in the base. I don't have to worry about that one right now. And this should not attempt to connect to anything. That one's red, that's fine. When it starts jittering like that, that means it's at a perfect angle. It's orthogonal. Doesn't really matter, just wanted to explain what that was for anyone who's not familiar with the jittering. Alright, so before I go down here the whole way, let me see if I can figure out where the copper is. I see it over here. And it's all in this wall. That's right, it was like right next to the aluminum. I was actually having problems separating them, so they're going to be right next to each other. Unfortunately, it's going to try to auto-connect to this thing, and I still don't know what to do with this thing. I kind of should just package it and get rid of it or something, but for now, we'll just leave it over there. I'm going to go ahead and run these two rails pretty close to each other. But I do need to make them cross over in an aesthetically pleasing manner. It is very important that we do that. So let me get this one sort of centered. And this one's going to need to be on the left, so we could do something like this. And just bring it over there. Okay, they'll probably clip through each other a bit there, but that's not too big of a deal. Good enough. There's a bunch of compound here. I could get compound from here if this ends up being the closest deposit, but we don't need that nearly as much as we need malachite, so we're going to work on the malachite here. Okay, this is one of the rail situations where I have not set up a station yet. I kind of need to print one. I think my auto extractor is done, so I can go get a rail station next. And getting the rails done early means that I'll have a power supply down there. Though I could have just connected it to the other system anyways. It wouldn't have been that important to have a power supply down there, but oh well. No big deal. Oh, these things are not... I never had this problem, I guess. I didn't realize these things are kind of a pain in the ass to turn. I need to set up multiple posts. Now they're cheap. Let's go ahead and make a few, and I'll just kind of stick the furnaces over here until I've worked out exactly how I want to design this. Okay, good. Next order of business. Let's get the auto extractor up and running. I'm going to need an auto arm, and I need to be able to connect power to it anyways, so... I think a couple here. We have 4 left. This is finished. I'm going to go ahead and print the second auto extractor now, since I don't need the train station just yet. And that auto extractor is probably going to be for compound on the surface, because I think we already actually have an auto extractor on that compound. And I think there's some resin, over here maybe that I'll gather instead. It's not going to go to waste. I can always bring it to another planet if I don't use it here. Speaking of resin, we're running out again. Just make 4. I just need to make one of these little platforms. There we go, these bad boys. We're gonna be making a lot of these little A platforms. Like, I need to, at some point, get like a canister of resin and just print like 24 of these little platforms, because we're gonna be using tons of them. Hopefully the auto extractor is only going to extract the correct material if I put it over here, because otherwise I'm going to get really upset. In fact, let me dig up a little bit of this just to get rid of it, so there's no ambiguity on what it's going to actually mine. Okay, that should be... Actually, let me get rid of this one. I'm trying to do this without mining the malachite. I'm doing a fairly shitty job at it. I think I've got most of it isolated. There's a bit here. Let me take off the snail so I can snipe this little piece. Not doing too much damage to the malachite. Alright, hopefully that's good enough. If we start seeing a mystery material show up here, I'll use the rocket to see through the walls and check, see if there's anything else buried in this deposit. But hopefully that'll do it for now. If I put it all the way over here, it'll most likely only pick up the material that I want. That's just most likely. It might just do whatever it wants anyways, because this video game just kind of does whatever it wants sometimes. Let's get our arm set up. Move this a little closer. I will have to refine that at a later time because we're going to be setting up a proper station down here. I guess I don't technically have to use the train stations. I'd kind of prefer to. And then we'll see. We'll see what I decide to do when the time comes. So if I put the arm right here, it should be able to grab off the top of this. And then in lieu of a train, I'm going to just place a canister in that spot. So once we get everything powered, it should be up and running. I just need to get the canister. That's not dangerous at all. Might as well bring these up and shred them every time I go through this trip. I mean, I'm wasting a shitload of hydrazine every time I do it. Might as well make it worth my while. Okay, here's the second auto extractor. I'm just going to put this off to the side because we don't need it right this moment. And this will get me started on Malachite while I set up the train structure. I forgot to get the hydrazine, so we're probably going to have to walk our way back up the hard way. Right here should do it. Just has to be in range. That's compound. Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, let's go get the rocket and see what's wrong. I'm gonna run out of fuel on the way up. Please. Let me up. Let me up. Nope. Not making it up. Come here, train. Give me a ride. Got ourselves topped off. Let's see here. I need to be paying... You know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use this big canister over here before I forget, because I looked this up and you cannot automate this event. Devs, please, why can't I automate the automation event? Like, it is literally called the Automated Mass Production Protocol, which involves the player manually pressing the button to send the materials periodically. Like, I don't understand. So I looked this up. You can't do it. So what I'm gonna do instead is make sure this thing is in range, since I have to manually send this crap anyways, and I will just kind of dick around with these canisters and then occasionally manually ship things over here. Oh look, it gave me a bunch of garbage, including of course, the power sensors that I needed. I probably should have checked on this. Oh my god. It's just like a DIY like circuitry kit right here. It's good to remember that it does that. And unfortunately I would just have to come over here and manually launch this thing every now and then. Oh well. Now let me just launch whatever I've got. Actually, I don't quite have a full set. I think it does cost you bytes to send it, which it's not very many bytes, but whatever, I'll send it later. We'll be able to accumulate a shitload of compound in this thing, so I'm not going to be wasting any additional time. I might as well bring over as many of these as I can carry. Put them on this. That one's getting shredded. All these related things, all these like sensors and whatnot are gone on this one. The battery, I'll just drop a battery here because it might be useful. I should charge it in my backpack first, then I'll drop it off over here. As for these two, I can just put these somewhere else in the base. I honestly should just shred these, because these are kind of not worth having around. They're just taking up space. I'm definitely shredding the small generators. I'm never going to use those. Like, I've truly fallen on desperate times if I have to start using small generators again. Just bring this back over here for the next reward. Repeater can go over here. Charged battery. Okay, what was I doing here? I needed to go into the ground with the rocket. Because I need to figure out why I'm getting compound. Because of course the game fucking picked the one material that is extremely sparse in that location instead of the one that I wanted it to. Which it always does. It knows which one you don't want. It's infuriating. I don't know why it doesn't just pick the one that's most, like, abundant in the area. So I need to go over here and try to figure out what's happening. And we're going to do that by looking through the walls like a filthy cheater. You got your day-long timeout on Neb, so you're here. Is that what this is? You just watch Neb until you get banned, and then it's time to go check out somebody else. Well, welcome to the stream. What did you do this time? What are you accused of? If you don't mind me asking. I'm gonna stick myself in the wall here. That should work. It's grabbing, like, one of these here, I think. Okay, where are those? I think I have a visual on that. I think I know where these are. I take the snail off again, I need precision. Okay, they're like up in this area. Yep, there they are. These are the ones that it's grabbing. Stupid game. That one... average reasons. You just said things. What a fun relationship you two have. Why do I have... oh my fucking god, it's mining aluminum now. Devs, please, why is it like this? Why is it picking the furthest possible materials to mine? Why did you program it like this? It's grabbing compound again. For fuck's sake! Why? It's right on top of a shitload of malachite. Why is it picking compound? Alright, now what are you mining? Show me. What do you have? Oh my god. Is there more under here? Yep. Sneaky. Didn't even notice that one. Thank you, Nebgold. Very cool. Well, I'm sure you'll have your issues to settle next stream when you get unbanned and then say something else stupid and get banned again. What a fun relationship. I do hope neither of you are actually upset with each other. I think that just seems to be just a meme at this point. Okay, what is it harvesting now? It's still fucking gathering compound. I don't understand. Stop. Get some help. It is going to mine literally every compound in range before it even thinks about mining the malachite. Okay, it's just a meme. That's what I figured. I just wasn't sure if there was any actual adversity. I didn't think there was. It's all in good fun. Okay, game. Now what are you mining? You're still mining compound, huh? And if I move it over here, it's going to mine aluminum. Maybe if I just inch it over like a bit? This? Okay, now what are you mining? Nope, I didn't even do that. No, no, not sideways. No, not on your side, like that. There you go, good. Good. Now what are you going to mine? You're still mining compound. How? Where? What do you want from me, game? Okay, where is it? There's a little bit right there. Is it mining that? There's one more in the wall here. It could be mining this one. I could get an angle on the other side of the wall as well. But we know there's at least one right here. Okay, apparently I'm down here now. How do I get back up? You know, I get the feeling we're going to be falling down here more than once. Let's just make a tunnel. Where the hell am I? Emote you've never used? Well, not anymore. You spoiled it. You've used it now. It's tainted. You can't say that you've never used that emote before. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It was your very first use of that emote, and it was you saying that you've never used it before. How tragic. Alright, we good now, game? Can I please mine the malachite? How the fuck is this thing still mining compound? Okay, how about all this? All of this, get rid of it. It's gone. Get rid of the one up there, too. Now what are you mining? It's still mining compound. God, I don't know what to do. I can't put it anywhere else. If I move it over there, it mines the aluminum instead. Devs, please. This is terrible. Why can't I just tell it what to mine? And like, these things never deplete. Hey, Ted Cuddy. These things never deplete. It's never going to stop mining the compound as long as there's a compound anywhere near it. Are the runs going? I mean, there's only been one run. This run has lasted multiple streams. As far as how it's going, I have been trying to figure out for like 30 minutes now why this auto extractor is picking the furthest resource to gather. Is there something I don't understand about these things? Are they capable of like gathering resources that are oh, there it is. Maybe it was that one. Are they capable of gathering shit that was like nowhere near them or that doesn't exist anymore and I just don't understand how they work? Because it's starting to feel that way. It's starting to feel like I have no idea like how these things actually work. What are you going to gather now? It's still fucking gathering compound. We need to go deeper. You don't know what those words mean. I don't know if I can help you. There's a lot to explain about this video game, but what it boils down to is the machines are not doing what I want them to, and I'm upset. And I need to convince them to do what I want them to. At whatever the cost. That includes the terrible camera. The game wants me to look down so badly right now, and I do not want to look down under any circumstances. This is where I want to look. Alright, what do we got here? There's still compound in the walls. So the auto extractor is right here. Like that's one of the little feet. It's right there. I think it's mining this compound here, or maybe one of these two. Kill all compound in a 26-mile radius. It's tempting. I'm trying to avoid doing that because I might want to mine this one with a second extractor. We know the second extractor is going to just mine the malachite instead, because, I mean, why would it do anything different? Alright, so the important intel is that this little protrusion here has some compound under it, and there's one really deep over there. Let's see if we can get the one that's over there through the wall. I should really just get a better malachite deposit. There's literally one right there, but I'm fucking stubborn. And this is how I want to do this. So we're just going to make a little glory hole in the wall here. This should get me to the other side in a moment. Any second now. Yep, any second now we'll be on the other side of this wall that definitely has a cave. There it is. Wasn't worried for a second. Why am I all the way over here now? This is not what was supposed to be over here. Now, what have I done? I'm so confused. Is it over here? No, that's the hole I just dug. Where's the rocket? How did I get down here? No, that's not the hole I just dug. Okay, well, we're back up here. Let's go ahead and do it from this side then. Alright, so... Oh, now it's started to mine malachite. It's going to go back to mining compound again. Like, I can't just say, oh, we're good to go. No, it's going to go back to mining compound. I need to actually deal with the root of the problem, or every time I pick it up and place it, it's going to fucking mine this again. We're gonna have to sacrifice a bit of the malachite to get at this crap. I feel like there was another one that was really deep in this direction. There it is. Alright, are we good now? Is that it for real? Because I need to figure out where the rocket went and get my shit back together. This is not what I meant to be doing for the next, like, 4 hours. Look at how much accidental compound I got while I was dicking around with this. This game. You have COVID, you can't sleep. I am sorry to hear that. I do genuinely hope you get better. I hope the stream doesn't make it worse. I'm doing my best here. I forget if you were here earlier, but we were playing Power Wash Simulator earlier because Jess wanted me to play that game, and now I'm not even mad at her for it. What a video game that is. It's just there to satisfy my crippling OCD. So it could potentially reach this one here, which is just at the bottom of that trench, and then on the left side of the trench there's a little more. So let's see if we can get all of that. How did I get down here? Where's the hole in the ceiling? Game, for fuck's sake, let me point the camera upward. It's so hard to find these holes in the ceiling. Once I have these set up, I don't have to do this anymore, chat, but initially we have to go through the struggle of getting these actually, like, constructed correctly. So we go around like this, up here, up through the funny tunnel. See that horn on that truck there? I don't really care. They shrunk. And then we get lost for a couple minutes, and eventually I find the rails, and we actually go where I want to be. That is not where I want to be. I don't know why I thought I could go up. You watch it for 5 minutes. Honestly, that 5 minutes probably summarized the entire stream. It's not a game for everyone. I wasn't originally intending to stream it, but it ended up being like a raid from Jess, and I think people kind of enjoyed it, even if just for the dumb commentary. I don't know if I can make that game interesting solo. I'll probably try to stream it solo, but I don't know if that's going to actually be a good idea or not. We'll see how that goes. It might just be really fucking boring and no one will want to watch it. But I might give it a shot. So we've made our way back up here. I think I remember roughly where the compound is. There's one here. There it is. And then I think I spotted a couple down in this general area. I didn't realize that there was a cave right there. That would have been way easier than what I was doing with the rocket. It's mostly malachite. I know I saw 2 more. There we are. Maybe 1 more, there it is. The rest of these, I think, are far away enough that they're not going to matter. I hope. I'm already out of jetpack fuel. Okay, so let me replant this and see what it starts gathering. And if it starts gathering malachite, then it should be good to go. I don't think it's going to pick up the wrong material. It's still fucking gathering compound. How? Is it this one? You can kind of see the particles like moving towards it when it mines to sort of tell you like where it's getting the material from. But it's like pulling it out of this spot in the wall. Oh, because there's compound in the wall there. That makes sense. Alright, now what are you going to gather? You going to be a piece of shit, or are you going to just do your thing? I fucking swear to God. I'm losing it, chat. I'm losing my mind. We just started playing Astroneer and I'm already upset. I should have just played Spelunky. I'd be less tilted than I am right now. Why is it mining compound? How is it that every single time I think I've collected all of the compound, there's just more compound somehow buried in this clusterfuck of malachite? Let's check on it again. I am so glad that you can do this in this game, because otherwise this would be a nightmare. Okay, that's not helping at all. Hold on a second. Let's get underneath it. How about right here? You see a small piece of compound right near the drill leg. And I'll check on that in a second here. I'm down here already. I might as well do this. Alright. This is a decent angle. I don't know what you're seeing. Like the auto extractor is right there. It's currently gathering malachite. There's only like a single compound near it that it thinks it depletes the compound and then it switches to something else, but I should still be able to visually see it. It could be grabbing this one over here. Or any of the ones in the wall. I'm gonna get rid of this one and then maybe trim back the wall a little bit. And then if you spot the one that you saw, then just let me know. You think you spotted one. It might have just been something the same color because it's gray like everything else. Well, I'm not mad at you if you think you saw one and you didn't. Because like I'll take anything to find this. I'll more than happily be wrong if you tell me there's one here. But this is what it looks like. So if you mean this, that's just part of the drill. And then that little yellow thing is part of the foot of the drill, so that's not anything important. But I spotted one, I think, in the wall over here. Let me get the snail back on my terrain tool. So I think I spotted one over here somewhere, like a bit of a straggler. Yeah, this one right here. That was the one that I think it might be mining. And then I'm going to just trim back the wall just a little. Alright, is this piece of shit going to mine any more compound? Yeah, reflecting piece. You know, there's a lot of things that are a little visually ambiguous in this game. Please, malachite. It's mining malachite now. Alright, we're good. It's fixed. I saved it. This is how much compound I accidentally mined while I was trying to get the fucking malachite. I need to actually come back down here with a storage container to get it because there's so damn much of it. Ugh, video games. First try, let's go. That little... I said I was going to fix this earlier. Oh, there's two of them now. Oh no, the rail actually carved a bit of this. I'm going to have to clean this up later. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's go do something interesting. I don't know what it is yet, but let's do something interesting. Where's the horn that I put on the rocket earlier? There it is. First try, let's go. Alright, so all my snails are about to get real hungry. How are we doing on trains? We have no fucking trains, but I could start taking cars off of this one, I think. Without any remorse. Alright, So when this is all good and done, we're going to have a setup that involves a rail car, a rail engine. I may not need the rail stations, but I kind of want to use them just because they're a lot more elegant. They're not strictly mandatory for this, and they kind of take up a lot of space, so maybe I won't do that initially. Anyways, let's go ahead and make a, let's make a rail car just so I can get up and down easily. Lightning plus. Okay, I'm thinking, what the fuck is Kai talking about, chat? Am I dumb? Is this like really obvious? Is this power? Oh! Was it the fucking batteries over there like all simultaneously spawning that symbol? Is that what that is? I kind of ignored that, but I suppose I should acknowledge that. The batteries just do that while they're charging in the morning. I'm assuming that's what you were talking about. Victory water. Will do. I need to make my hydrate redeems actually play a sound. I keep like not noticing them. It was literally right there next to Kai's thing, and I just fucking ignored the hydrate until you said victory water. Delicious victory water. It's the same water that I drink when you guys tell me to hydrate after I fail something. But it's special because it felt special. It was a special occasion. I don't know what I'm talking about, chat. I'm rambling. Stop listening to me. Okay, we're gonna want a smelter for this. Another auto arm. I kind of don't need that at the moment. #1 victory royale. I've never played a battle royale game actually, so by extension I've never gotten a #1 victory royale, so I'm not gonna say that we did that. Like, it was first try, but it wasn't like a victory royale. Not quite the same thing. I have that extra aluminum that I brought. Oh, I didn't bring it. It's still down there. I gotta get a canister for all the compound. That's what I was gonna do. No power. Yep, my snails are all hungry. Now you can actually kind of still move it. Just at walking speed. Oh, it has no power. I don't think you have either. You're probably not missing out on much, but I don't know. I've kind of lost my boner for competitive games over the years. Maybe it's because I'm old and this is just a mad because bad situation, but I just kind of don't feel like playing competitive games anymore. I like cooperation more. I like working with people, not against them. Like a little light competition, like shitty like arena matches with people that aren't taking it seriously is always fun, but the rest of the competitive scene just hasn't done anything for me. Like, I stopped playing competitive Overwatch, and then the game became like terrible. Maybe it was always terrible and I just never noticed. But I'm probably only going to play the PvE if Overwatch 2 ever comes out, if Blizzard doesn't grind itself into the dirt before then. I mean, that's another reason not to play Team Fortress 2. So Captain can keep asking me, and I have another excuse now to not want to play Team Fortress 2, which is I don't want to play competitive games anymore. Just not feeling it. So this one's disconnected now. The rest of these are still kind of functional as long as I activate them at the right times. I think I'm going to run out of the Boomaloon seeds if I'm not careful here. Actually, I have a few extras, so we should be fine. There we go. There's the Knuckles wrap. Gotta be one of these in every playlist I make. Okay, these ones are actually bugs. They didn't harvest when they were supposed to for some reason. This is why we're making a new plant gathering system, because this one sucks and it doesn't work correctly. This was supposed to happen. It was supposed to pop all of those and then replant them when this thing settles, but it just didn't do it. Play online co-op at Spelunky. I do that, just not right now. I haven't felt like playing Spelunky for a bit. I'm not going to pretend I'm not burning out on Spelunky, so I wanted to take a break from it and play a couple other things. This was another situation where I considered playing Spelunky today, but I just did not feel like playing it. Like, at the end of the Power Wash stream, I was thinking I kind of wanted to play Spelunky, but I'm probably just going to play like dog shit and just throw and be a dwelling streamer. I just didn't feel like doing that. There were some things I wanted to do in this game instead, so I ultimately decided against it. I promise, we'll go back to Spelunky at some point. It'll happen. Eventually. Someday. I need a storage sensor. That's the one thing I did not get. But, like, I don't want to just like straight up like burn out on Spelunky and just never want to play it again. Like, you all know I'm showing up on like other people's streams to like play co-ops with them, but that's it. Like, I'm not playing it by myself for any reason anymore. And like ultimately, I like the co-ops a lot, and I could kind of not be the focus of the stream if I'm on somebody else's stream. I don't have to like run the show. I don't have to deal with like goblins. I don't have to call the shots on whether or not it's time to regroup because people are throwing too hard in the run. So it's a lot more relaxing to play Spelunky with like another streamer who just kind of deals with the whole issue. Basically, I'm lazy and don't want to deal with it. But I will do co-ops on my stream. Like they happen from time to time. It's just been a while because I haven't been playing Spelunky much in general. AJE HD runner coming up. I still enjoyed AJE for Spelunky HD like more than Spelunky 2. I didn't finish it in Spelunky 2. I got fucking pissed off and stopped. It was the same stream where I decided I was going to play keyboard because I think my controller is the reason why I died during that AJE run. And what was I making? Quartz. I need quartz. I need to put an auto extractor on that. That might be the next thing I get. You got the 727 and haven't played since. Like Spelunky, like solo in general, or just CO runs? And 727 is still pretty good, and I'm not going to ever criticize someone for not wanting to get the 99, but like if you can get to 27, you can get the 99. Like that's enough consistency to get the 799, but there is a lot of fucking luck that goes into it, unless you're extremely careful. So like I wouldn't blame you if you don't want to go through that slog, but I think you could probably do it if you put your heart to it. Just don't do it unless you want to do it. Unless you know what you're getting yourself into. Because Hui the 799 grind is something. Alright, storage sensors. I'm going to make a couple of these because I'm going to need these later. Eventually I want to mass produce all of these sensors, but I need way more of a backlog of materials to do that. I had to sniffle there. I was getting all stuffed up. I'm not even having allergies right now. I don't know why that was happening. Weird. I'm defective, chat. I'm sorry. Like I had to tell you at some point. Okay, there was a storage sensor right there the whole time because that was the one item on that storage rack that I didn't check. And we need this for the train. So let's stick it over here. Doesn't really matter where it goes. I've just been putting it on the side. And this needs to be full or empty. You got two UFOs flying at the start in Neobab. What, is that what ended your 729 run? Because that kind of sucks. Like, shit like that is why I've kind of gotten sick of the CO, because the CO is, like, skill-based until you load into a level that just says, nah, go fuck yourself. Like, it's just inevitably how it seems to go. Like, you keep thinking, like, oh, I could do it, I could knock out another CO run, and then it's just like, you just get the one Neobab level. Like, fucking poor Jess, I was watching her play Spelunky earlier. She got to the CO twice, and both times there was an extremely bad Neobab level, like, immediately into the run. And her jetpack blew up, and it's just like, well, the run is over, I guess. It's just so fucking toxic, like, the way that can just happen in these runs. I need to send the train over there. Were you watching that? You were there in Jess's chat for a little while. Guess you saw that too. And like some of it is like, yeah, skill issue, but a lot of it really is those were shitty fucking levels. Like, yeah, she could have played the level differently and not died to that, but just the fact that so much depends on perfect play when you're in levels like that to begin with is just kind of horrible, and I hate it. It's so stressful. And like, it's not fair for me either to be like, oh, skill issue, when it's like, I have died to that shit so many fucking times. The reason I don't die to that constantly in the CO runs I do attempt is because I've learned to identify the bullshit and see when an exit is so terrible that I need to clear it out before I like trigger the jelly, because otherwise I know there's a 99% chance I'm losing my jetpack. Like, Neo Babylon is, I think, second worst. Like, I've said this before, I switch around like which CO levels are the worst over my career in Spelunky, but the current standing is that the worst level is Jungle, followed by Neo Babylon, and then Temple, in that order. And then the rest of the levels are kind of all over the place, with, I think, Tide Pool and Ice Caves being the easiest ones. Sunken City is kind of in the middle of Dwelling, and Volcana is only bad if you have a jetpack, otherwise it's like a cakewalk. But, like, Volcano literally goes from, like, easiest level to, like, middle of the rankings. I need to call the train back. Use half your bombs on the temple. That's a fair way to do it if you're just going for consistency and you have a lot of bombs. Like, just use them on the temple level. Like, there's no shame in that. But, like, in the long term, like, if you're going for, like, faster, more consistent runs, like a compromise between speed and consistency, you probably want to use more bombs on Neobab and just rush through temple levels. Because generally the crush traps on temple levels are irrelevant in my experience. What I usually notice is if I'm going fast, I never have problems with the crush traps. I usually use my bombs on sorceresses that I can't stomp efficiently, or like really badly placed curse cats. But the crush traps are only an issue really if you slow down and hang out in an area for too long, because that's when you start getting like stunned by enemies or getting pushed into a corner you don't want to be in. So temple is actually easier if you go fast because of that. Which is weird. It's not how you would think it would go. So let's see what's going to happen here. This should ship itself up when this canister fills, and then when these two slots fill up, it should fill itself up and then like kind of automatically go to the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and ride it up to the top and then send it back down. You just want to live. That's the thing, like you need to speed up a little bit in the temple, because the temple is a level where more things go wrong the longer you spend in the level. That's kind of the best way I can describe that based on my experiences. Like, you don't have to go like with reckless abandon, but you basically don't want to stay in an area any longer than you need to. Like, if you see a sorceress shooting at you and it's a shitty area and there's a lot of crush traps, just turn around and go somewhere else. Don't go to that part of the level unless you have to, unless that's the only spot the orb could possibly be. Don't stop to like think about what you're doing and start like carefully like approaching the sorceress and fighting the bees and shit. Because that kind of situation tends to result in things falling apart, especially if there's like 3 of the fuckers all shooting at you at the same time. That's the best advice I can give for handling the temple, is like get the hell out of the areas where the enemies are as fast as possible. Do not linger. Neobab, on the other hand, you need to linger. You need to very slowly approach every single challenge and think to yourself, is there a chance of a body or a UFO hitting me in this spot? So like approach things horizontally, out of range of the spark trap danger, and try to acknowledge whether or not you're about to die from what you're going to do. So it's a weird way that you have to play the levels. And then jungle just fucking sucks. It's just the worst of everything because it's so slow when you're speedrunning. Jungle's not that bad if you take it slow, but I'm sick of playing the game slow. I've been doing that for so long. So I try to speedrun, and jungle fucks me over. And I think most like high-level speedrunners think jungle's the worst because the level gen is extremely unforgiving. You get blocked off so easily when you're running jungle levels. I need to make... Let's see, what's the smelting apparatus I've been making? Can I optimize this? Yeah, jungle's just fucking hell. How did this get rotated? Okay, it just turned off like halfway through rotation. Okay, so the way I've been doing this is I have the smelter on a platform here. It finishes the product, it outputs it to the platform. But I think I can just have the auto arm take it straight off the smelting furnace without an intermediate platform. This just provides another buffer that I don't really need. I'm trying to think if there's a reason why this is a bad idea to do it like this. Let's see here. Well, no, sorry, I'm got gas. The arms take it off immediately. There might be an intermission where there's a thing on the output point of the smelting furnace that hasn't been picked up by an arm yet. And that would cause the problem of the arms not like immediately optimizing the speed of the furnace. Okay, I have a better idea. How about we make one of these wacky platforms that I've been ignoring for a while? I don't think I've printed one of these yet. This horrendous looking platform here might actually be... Is this what I want? This could be what I want. Oh, hold on a second here. No, I'm gonna have an auto arm on both ends. That's also kind of restrictive. I could just use a B platform, or I could just keep using C platforms and plug up the slots I don't want, I suppose. I'm just gonna go with what I'm doing now because I think this is actually fine. I could reuse these platforms later if I don't like them. So let's keep making T platforms. I keep calling them C platforms, and I don't know why. Yeah, Witch Doctors do suck. Witch Doctors and the Tiki Men are the biggest issue as far as the enemies are concerned in the jungle. But in general, the jungle is toxic as fuck because there's a lot of enemies that are either brutally punishing if they attack you, or they're RNG based. Because shit like mosquitoes and the hang spiders can just sort of show up anywhere. Like, you don't know when the hang spiders are going to drop. They move extremely fast. They're incredibly hard to front flip while they're moving because they drop so fast. And getting hit by a hang spider while you're running from the jelly is probably going to get you killed. If a witch doctor walks onto you, you're probably fucked. If a boomerang guy hits you, you're probably fucked. It's extremely unforgiving considering it's a level that can't blow up your jetpack or poison you. So it's bad. And then the thing about speedrunning it is, in addition to like fucking run-ending enemies at every turn, man traps that can instantly kill you, witch doctor skulls, you also have to fucking worry about the fact that the level gen is just very blocked off in the jungle. Like, this is something Hectique called out specifically in like a document that he sent to Derek Yu that is probably not going to amount to anything, but I keep crossing my fingers and hoping it does. But he called out that a lot of level gen is toxic, even in like the regular jungle. I don't even know if he called out the Cosmic Ocean jungle, but just regular jungle level gen is toxic as fuck. It's extremely like dense, there's a lot of slow rooms in it, and just having thorns everywhere that you could bump into and hit stun you, and walls you have to bomb through. Like, blocked off jungles are so common. There's the furnace. It's just generally terrible and not very fun to play the jungle. I don't remember if he called out the Cosmic Ocean specifically or the regular one, but jungle's just slow. There's just so many things that waste your time. And then the Cosmic Ocean one has the loop, so of course you get knocked in the loop, your run's probably over. Sorry folks, if you thought you were going to get away from me complaining about the Cosmic Ocean when I'm not playing Spelunky, you came to the wrong stream, because we do that no matter what game I play. It's inevitable, I apologize. I'm going to try to stop ranting about it. If you have any more constructive conversation about the Cosmic Ocean, like, by all means. I'm going to stop whining now about the jungle. Go ahead and eggplant. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, we're gonna go back to the Cosmic Ocean, but we're not going to be complaining so much as pointing out missed opportunities. Like, in addition to the CO being too long, I feel like they should have themed it more heavily after the path you took. So, like, if you went to Duat, you should get a CO level in Duat, and if you went to Eggplant World, you should get an occasional, like, Eggplant World level in the Cosmic Ocean. I think would have been really cool if they had done that. They didn't. City of Gold will also be neat. It doesn't work as well with Tide Pool simply because there are no alternate themes in Tide Pool. Like, Abzu is just a Tide Pool themed level with a giant turtle in it. But it still would have been neat if they had done that. Kind of give you a bit more to look forward to when you get there if you went to the temple. But it is what it is, I suppose. I wish they had done that, though. That would be pretty cool. I kind of wonder if you can put a smelting furnace on the train station and just smelt them on the spot. I never actually thought about that. Yeah, Abzu CO theme. Wouldn't that be exciting? It would be just like the regular CO, except it's Abzu. It can't spawn Pangies. That's like the only difference. I think axolotls can't spawn in Abzu either, but I don't remember. Basically, it wouldn't be different at all. It would be lame. Alright, hold on. Wait a minute. Brain blast. I have an idea. What if I put one of the auto arms on that C platform, and then the other one on the other side? I got this. It's just a lot. It just has a giant, like, pit of water. The whole level's submerged. And honestly, I made a mod that does that. It would be kind of interesting. If I'm being completely honest, like, submerged levels, which somebody, I forget who it was, said that was an idea that they had for the game that just never happened. Like, somebody found in the code that there was a concept for submerged levels. I think it's Spelunky HD. So the concept existed. I think the devs considered it and just for one reason or another decided not to do it. Which, I mean, that's their choice. Maybe it wasn't as fun as it sounds like it might be. I think it would be okay were it not for the fact that it would fuck over speedruns. So like, I'm glad it's not in the game because it would be horrible for speedruns, but I think it would have been kind of neat if they had done that. The train should have been sent back by now, so something is probably not going to work. I remember seeing the trailer and thinking how cool mounts and back layers were. Yeah, they don't exist in the CO. It's fucking lame. I don't know why they didn't add mounts to the Cosmic Ocean. I say this a lot. I have like a list, like a laundry list of things that I would add to the Cosmic Ocean if I were hypothetically a developer for this game. Not this game, but Spelunky 2. One of them is I would put pets, mounts, and Kali altars in the Cosmic Ocean, so that you could basically mitigate the absolutely brutally unforgiving punishment that is getting poisoned or cursed in the CO, and then losing your back item and not having mobility. Especially for co-op, having the mounts would be huge, because you could get a mount, a double jump, or a slow fall in like any level that's eligible to spawn those mounts. They could have put giant spiders and vampires as well, which would have solved not having paste, which is extremely important in the CO, and then also not having a cape, which is another good alternative for a back item. Like I'm saying, I know they're not in CO, they should be. What am I doing here? I need to make a platform. Like they should be. There should be giant spiders, and there should be vampires in the volcano levels. Kali could be problematic. Here's the thing. There's a couple ways that Kali could be approached. I'm not gonna say that Kali has to be there, but the reason why I think Kali should be in the CO is because getting cursed is basically a run ender, and there's no way to get rid of curse. But you are right. The ball and chain is the biggest issue. Like, it could be a situation where the Kali punishments are lightened, so you basically can't get cursed and perma-ghosted, or whatever the equivalent would be in the CO. Like, they take that punishment out, but she still ball and chains you if you get the Kali altar blown up. Like, which would still be frustrating. I kind of wish that there was a blame system, so that you didn't get blamed if the Kali altar got destroyed by random shit. Like, that would ultimately solve the problem, if there was just a proper blame system for Kali altars. And the player just didn't get blamed for it, unless they actually did it. So you wouldn't get ball and chained. And at that point, I think it'd be okay if you got cursed, because it would be your fault if you did it. Even if you whip a UFO into the loop and it breaks a Kali altar, like, I mean, that's fine. That's fair. Like, Spelunky is a brutally unforgiving game. Oh, the train finally showed up. So that'd be totally cool if it worked like that. But otherwise, yeah, probably maybe don't want Kali altars in the CO, just because you would probably get cursed at some point. Unless they design the Kali altar rooms to be less likely to have that happen. Which, I mean, they won't. Like, there's no way they would ever do that. That'd be ridiculous. That'd make the game easier. We can't have nice things like that. But it would still be nice. Just a thought of, like, maybe if they had designed things differently, it could have worked. I think a Vlad's Castle mini area with the vampires would be the way to go. Like, they should absolutely not spawn Vlad's Cape. That would be stupid. Like, that item should be unique to Vlad's Castle. But they should have, like, a mini area that can spawn those. That can spawn the vampires, so you can get guaranteed yellow capes. The Kali altars could also be a source of vampires for yellow capes. There's a few creative things you could really do with it. Hey, Blanio. No, come back! Stop! Stop! Need the train. He also gets stunned. That's why I'm saying, like, it's probably an issue unless they do something about getting blamed for Kali when you didn't have anything to do with it. They would have to do both of those. Otherwise, I would say maybe just omit the Kali altars and just don't get cursed forehead. Yeah, so anyone who's... How did I do this perfect plat? Oh, have you not played this game in a while? There's a leveling block now in survival mode. So if you're wondering how I got the true flat, I was with the leveling block. If that's not what you're wondering, I'll be more than happy to answer the question, but this was basically, I used the leveling block and then smoothed the shit out of the base to make it pretty. If you mean the painting, like, you can just do that with a narrow mod and a terrain analyzer. You can paint, like, really precise lines. It's just very difficult to do it. It takes a long ass time. I did it between streams for the most part. But any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm just clarify it a bit if I didn't give you the right answer. Beehives would be neat too, actually. That's a good idea. If Temple and Jungle could spawn beehives, like, I think Adrian was the one who said this, but you're absolutely right. They fucking ripped half the content of the game out. Like the mounts, there's no back layer, and then there's no beehives or anything either, which would spawn a bee queen with a jelly as a source of health if you don't have the Kapala. Because the Kapala is mandatory in the Cosmic Ocean. Basically, your run is ruined if you don't get that item. Skeleton key doors. What do you mean skeleton key? You just mean like locked doors in general with something in them? Because it could be cool having a back layer with something in it. Honestly, even if it's just the shitty fucking back layers that normally spawn, like there's the potential for something to be in them. It'd be better than nothing. Would I ever check them during a speed run? No. Would I check them if I'm desperate? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they'd save my run. Maybe they would just be tremendously disappointing like they usually are, but I mean, there aren't any, so we can't know what the outcome could be. Like, I'm always disappointed with how Spelunky handled its back layer. I feel like they could have done so much more with it than they did, but I mean, the way it is now, there's no back layer at all. That feature is just completely omitted. So, I mean, that's really the worst possible thing they could have done was just not add a back layer in the first place. I need to make a medium platform, or a large platform A. But yeah, skeleton key would be useful. I'd rather they still spawned both keys in the level, just in case you don't have a skeleton key. But like, it could actually be useful for something. I kind of wish compass was useful, though. Like, I guess pointing to the exit in the CO would be a little broken. Maybe alien compass could point to the orbs, and then the regular compass points to the exit. I think that might be fair. So, like, that would help a lot. That'd make the alien compass pretty good. Maybe have it only point to the closest orb, so that you can't just, like, immediately know where all three are at the start of the level, but there's ways they could have balanced it. Or ultimately just make the Cosmic Ocean shorter so it doesn't need a lot of these things would have also been fine with me. I still think it's too long on top of all the other problems it has. And it's not too long in a like, oh no, it's too hard way. It's too long in a like, how many times can I roll the dice with the RNG before the game finally kills me? It's like, it's a slog. There's just too much of it. It lasts too long and you're probably just going to die to bullshit at some point if you don't get lucky. Especially if you're speedrunning, where you have to just gamble with the bullshit because there's no better way to play it. I need a storage sensor. We're almost done with the copper setup. I've kind of been rambling this whole time, but I'm setting up an auto copper smelter that's basically the same as the one I made for the aluminum here. And I want the storage sensor to turn it off when this is full so that it doesn't put crap in my inventory. Just the usual. Compass could point to key doors. It could do a few things. I'm not too torn up about the compass not doing anything in the CO, but they should take it out of the drop table for the, the crates, if they're going to do that. Like, it should just not spawn. There's no reason for it to spawn, so why is it in the drop table? Feels floaty up here. That'd be a cool level feeling. They could have done that for, like, Sunken City or something as well. Or any level, really. A lot of neat stuff they could have done. Like, a floaty feel would have actually... Now you mentioned it, that's actually kind of an interesting concept. Now let's see, so I want full or not full. And what this is going to do is just turn off the auto arms when the thing is filled up, which means that when I walk past this contraption, the auto arms aren't going to put crap in my backpack. That's the only purpose behind this. Alright, so, all the compound. And the train was supposed to go back when I picked this off, but I think oh, it's because I manually brought it up here, that's why it's not doing anything. Okay, we should be good to go on that. And then I could just place like a storage canister or two. Set it to output mode. And how's the smelting going over here? I can just smelt the rest of them with this system. And the arm should just automatically start grabbing these when I place them in this general area. Okay, I think we have automated copper. It's a little bit far away. I'm going to eventually, I think, make like a storage row where I have like all the materials I want just kind of lined up over here. But I need to run the rail closer, and I don't feel like doing that right now. Because this here is a mess, and I definitely want to clean this up a bit first. Now that said, I can actually just do this now. I don't really need this platform to be like this. Game, I'd really like to grab that cable plug, thank you. You hear orbs? I don't want more orbs, let's not get carried away now. The fact that the orbs can spawn literally anywhere in the level is one of the problems that I have with it. Because it's like, there's no way to find the orbs other than to scour every inch of the level and just hope you find them, which I don't feel is very fun. Why the fuck is there resin on the compound auto extractor? What is wrong with this video game? Oh god, because there's one resin like right here. Hopefully there's just one. Who am I kidding? There's probably more. Astroneer, why are you like this? This thing stopped running for God knows how long because it had that on it. Okay, well there we go. We reset it. How much did we collect? We collected 52. We can still send a shipment. I'm still not stoked about the fact that I have to manually send these. There doesn't seem to be any way to do it automatically. I will eventually set up a better way to load the rocket, but I'm kind of hacking this together right now. At some point here we can stop sending compound though. It'll start asking for more like sophisticated resources, but I think for now I have to send compound, or at least I don't know what I have to send afterward. Let's see, does it tell me? Maybe it is just compound. I don't know, we'll see if it tells me anything. Maybe I could put different materials on it, I just don't know what they are. Did I set this to shuffle or is it playing in order? Why is it playing the two Hat in Time songs back to back like that? Oh, I never shuffled it. Yeah, whatever, we'll just let it play in order. I'm the psychic presence. I don't know, they decided they didn't want it, I guess. I mean, I think Ice Caves kind of sucks the way it is now. I wish they had done it like they did in HD, where it's just 4 levels. Instead, it's just one. Ice Caves right now is just one really predictable, not very interesting level. I feel like they should have just done 4 Ice Caves levels. But yeah, now it's just Alien Queen and nothing else. Alien Lord's gone. Alien Tank's gone. I miss the Alien Tanks. I like that enemy. Why'd they take that out? Okay, let's do a super flat lesson. So I think I have a couple people that asked about this, so... let's see, who was the other one? Blaniel was the one who asked about this. Well, if you're still here, let me do a very quick super flat, or true flat primer. Where the heck is my equipment? I have a storage rack, there it is, full of crap here, and I want the leveling lock. Alright, so, folks, true flat in this video game. Here's your very quick summary with a shitty diagram I drew on a previous stream. Let's get that up in OBS. Not that, no, don't look at that one. Okay, so, it's a little bit hard to tell what's going on here because I can't get my cursor to be captured by these images. But the best way that I can explain this is this game uses voxels to store data. And if you look at the top center square, what you're seeing there is how the game handles like weird slopes that aren't on one of the poles or along the equator. And if you try to smooth out a triangle from an area like that, let me go find an area to demonstrate this. I don't want to grab that. Okay. If you try to smooth out a triangle from that, it's never going to work. And the reason it's never going to work is because floating point precision just doesn't know what to do. Actually, I don't want to smooth out this terrain. I like this hillside. Let me go into the tunnels to do this. Okay, we can dig around down here. So if you smooth out an uneven surface like that, you're going to wind up with a situation like maybe this here, where it looks really flat, but then if you go and sample it again, you'll notice that these triangles aren't quite flat. Like you can sort of see a shading issue in this triangle right here. They're all weird shapes. There's another one right here. This is just a floating point limitation. The game doesn't have infinite precision on how these slopes are set up, so every time you sample a triangle, each one of these has a minutely different slope. And if you try to paint back over the terrain with it, you get slightly different terrain every single time you paint over. You can see how I keep repainting the center, and it just deforms it ever so slightly. That is happening because you need... I have the thing on my screen. I'm a dumb idiot. I'll show it again. I'm a bad streamer. I don't know why you watch me. Anyways, if you have a slope like this at a weird angle, and you try to deform, it's going to deform it a little bit differently every single time because of floating point precision errors. So you can see that happening here now. like where it repaints the triangles slightly differently, and it's subtle, it's hard to tell, but it results in your base not working correctly. Amateur streamer, yep, I apologize. I need a third monitor so I can see chat while I do shit like this, because I had OBS on my other monitor, so I didn't realize that things were all blocked off because I wasn't looking at chat. Anyways, I just demonstrated the thing that I was trying to. So let me get the image back on screen, and this time I'm going to move it off to the side. So... OBS, for the love of God, let me move the voxel diagram. And we'll put it up here. I'm not going to be doing anything up in this corner. Okay, so the next thing that I want to explain here is you can't do it on a weird slope like this, but the way these planets are set up, if you look at the image on the left, is imagine the planets are nestled inside of a giant cube, because that's kind of how the game stores this data. It's a giant grid of cubes, voxels if you will, kind of like Minecraft. It does some trickery to add like little slopes inside of the voxels, but the thing you could do if you're feeling clever is you take the leveling block, which is a block they added a while ago, and this block will create the actual cubes, like a perfectly flat surface that is aligned to this grid here. The little purple like diamonds that you see on the picture of the planet there, those are the gateways for a typical planet. You can see the 3 in the front, and then I added the silhouette of the 3 in the back. I am next to a gateway right now. There's one directly above me, and that means that I'm on a face of that giant cube, and that means that when I use the leveling block, I wind up with a smaller cube like this that is almost perfectly flat compared to the gravitational pull, and geometrically it's not subject to floating point errors. And what that means is that if I use the leveling block on the surface here underneath the gateway and then smooth it out, I can get a perfectly flat base where every single tile is the exact same like smoothed out surface. There are no errors. If you smooth from one of these triangles anywhere in this area, it'll still be perfectly flat, and you don't have to worry about jostling your platforms. Make a staircase to space. I will probably do that eventually for no particularly good reason. And yes, Vandalay, there's always an MS Paint picture on my stream when I play Astroneer. That's just how it goes. So there, apologies for blocking it the first time around. Did I answer the question for what true flat is and why I'm able to do this? You have to be under a gateway, or in the case of the moons, you have to be on one of the spots where a gateway would have been. There's only 2 gateways on the moons, with the moons being De Solo and Novus, and every other planet has 6 gateways. And building around the gateways allows you to basically level out one of the sides of the cube that I drew around the planet in that diagram there. So, there, hopefully my incompetence didn't scare anybody away. Are there any questions about that? I feel like you're in an engineering class. So this is a computer science class is what this is. Because this is just a brief insight into the algorithm they use to like actually program this game and get the voxel engine. And you could use the leveling block to sort of break it down. To try the cube. Okay, excellent. Alright, happy I helped. And this is just, you just research this like anything else. It costs 1 soil canister to create this. You can use it 10 times, and then you can just make a new one with the soil canister. You get the canister back when you craft it. So really it just costs soil, because you have to fill up the canister. It is a net loss on soil. Like, you don't get nearly as much back when you like use the leveling block 10 times, but there's soil everywhere. You're not going to run out. And in case it wasn't obvious, if you're trying to make the walls, you can just make walls with it instead. So like if I wanted to make a wall instead of a floor, I could just use it a couple times. I ran out. Well, let me demonstrate how to make a leveling block real quick. I need a tiny smidgen of soil here. Let's get it from this. So anyways, you make the leveling block here. You build it up a couple times. It's also worth noting, by the way, this angle right here is a 45-degree angle. That is how I built the ramp that you see here. That's a 45-degree angle. So one use of the leveling block on a flat surface, you get a 45-degree angle. If you use it a second time, you get a wall. And you could smooth out a wall and produce the thing that I made over here. Or a ceiling if you build it up high enough, or protrude it off of the ceiling like this and then expand it. So that's the gist of how I created this base, and then it's just a lot of really tedious smoothing. Well, it's not behind the picture. I have been moving the camera around. I know chat could see the ramp, Kai. It was briefly blocked. Here it is. Here it is. It's not behind the picture. You can see the ramp now. So that's how I built that. Getting other angles is extremely difficult. I don't know how to do it consistently. I think it's possible to get a 2x1 slope. Don't the floating point beds get less accurate? Not when they're perfectly flat. So I'm gonna do a bit of theory crafting here. We're going into computer science kingdom a little bit. Let me get the diagram off the screen since I think I've answered most of the questions. The floating point precision that I'm referring to has to do with weird looking slopes. So let me smooth this nonsense out first. I can just delete this. True flat, so if I pull it over here, it's just perfectly gone. Making true flat, by the way, is easier with the boost mod and then the narrow mod if you need small changes. Like I built this ramp with the normal tool size and then the narrow mod tool size. Like I didn't really use the big size for anything. But anyways, floating point, what I'm talking about is the normal vectors. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. This is math and computer science at this point. I'm a nerd. My name is Cosine256. You know what you're getting into when you clicked on this stream. But the way the game does this, to my knowledge, this is speculation. I'm not a developer for this game. I don't know for certain. Is when you press control to sample the terrain and then you start smoothing, the game stores two numbers. It stores a plane in 3D space, which consists, or not two numbers, it stores two vectors to create a plane in 3D space. It stores a normal vector, and what a normal vector is you see the arrow that's pointing down there? Actually, I could make it like this. The normal vector for this point on the terrain is basically the upward arrow that you see right there. That's just 3 digits, like just in 3D space. So if you don't know what a vector is, again, don't worry about it. It's just basically a direction in 3D space is what a vector is. And a normal vector is a direction in 3D space that is 1 unit long. So just imagine that number being stored, like this direction. And then the second thing it's storing is this point right here where my cursor is, the thing I'm circling right now. It's storing that point in space. So it's storing a direction and a point. And you could define a plane in 3D space with that. Not like an airplane, but a plane as an infinite flat surface in all directions around the circle that you see here. So like imagine the circle is laying flat on a floor that goes infinitely in all directions. That's what a plane is. So you have that bit of information, and what the game is doing is every frame that you're attempting to smooth the terrain, the game remembers that normal vector, it remembers that point in space, and it tries its best to create a triangle that is aligned to that plane. However, floating point precision basically means that computers can't store infinitely complex numbers. Eventually, it runs into precision errors, which is basically like, imagine a really long decimal value, and eventually you don't have enough decimal points to store anything else. And in the case of floating point numbers, that's 8 digits in decimal. Meaning like the highest number that you could store without losing precision is in the realm of an 8-digit number in base 10. It's not exactly 8, it varies depending on the number. But just say for the purposes of my demonstration, it's about 8 digits. In binary, it's I think 23 digits, question mark? I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's 23 or 24, something like that, but it converts to roughly 10 or roughly 8 digits in base 10. Which would be in the realm of like 10 million or like 99 million or something would be like the highest number you could store before you started running into precision errors. Again, that's not correct. That's not 100% accurate. I'm just trying to give you like a ballpark explanation of how much precision you have, and that goes in the other direction too. So if you want a really small number, you're only going to have 8 digits below the decimal point. So like if you want to store a number like 0.012345678, you can't store the 9. You don't have enough precision for it anymore. And what that comes down to is each of these triangles like has little vertices on each of these corners here. And those vertices are not going to exactly align to the hypothetical plane that I smoothed from originally. Because this is a weird slope. The normal vector is a weird number that's at the floating point precision limit. And then the coordinate I sampled from is also at the floating point precision limit. And then each individual triangle, if I open up my diagram again, needs to try to approximate itself. If you look at the top center square, the game is going to try its best to draw a triangle like that fits the slope, but it's not quite going to line up. It just isn't going to work I can't demonstrate exactly why, but basically the precision limits mean that it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little bit off. So if I smooth out the surface and then I go for another triangle next to it and smooth it again later, I have a slightly different sample. I have a slightly different normal vector, a slightly different point in space, and that means the plane that I'm going to smooth on is a little bit different. And if I smooth back over the original point, I'm going to basically draw a slightly different triangle in that spot. And it's going to jostle all the platforms that you placed. It's going to paint a little bit of terrain or carve a little bit of terrain. But the precision errors do not happen on this perfectly flat surface because this is an exact value. This height, the normal vector here, is literally 0 on 2 axes and 1 straight up in that direction. So again, the normal vector being the upward facing arrow that I'm showing down there. That is exact. There are no precision errors. It is literally 1, 0, 0, with the 1 being whatever direction is facing up, and the 0, 0 being that direction and that direction respectively. And then if I smooth from it, I don't lose any precision as I move horizontally because I'm moving on a perfectly flat surface. I'm going to generate the same triangle every single time I come back over this point, no matter where I sample it from, because my plane is the same no matter where I sample from. I could start here, I could start over here, I could start over here. It is the same plane every single time. That is why true flat works the way it does in this game. You can do it with 45-degree angles. Although the square root of 2 can't be stored properly in this game, I don't know for sure that it stores a normal vector, and I believe what ends up happening is that it rounds to the correct plane every time when you're at an angle like this. The normal vector in this situation would be square root of 2 divided by 2 in this direction, straight up, and then the other value, the horizontal, would be 0 in this case. And I believe the fact that those two up and sideways values are identical causes the game to round it off correctly, and the 45-degree slope also works. The problem is when you get into the weird-ass numbers over here, on these like obscure-looking slopes that don't have a perfectly flat, rounded surface, those are the ones where if you resample them, you get a different result every single time you do it. I hope I didn't scare everybody away with a math lesson here, and I hope I explained that reasonably clearly for anybody who understands what I'm talking about. And again, if you don't understand it, don't worry about it. This is computer science and mathematics. If you're just here to see the video game, I am going back to playing the video game now, but I do enjoy explaining stuff like that for anybody who's curious. A little bit about like the inner workings of this game, but that's the technical reason why true flat works here and only here, on those 6 locations on the surface of the planet. Arguably, if you were feeling really adventurous, you could also go to the 45-degree point between gateways. So like if you imagine that there's a gateway here, and then there's one in that direction on the side of the planet, like if you look through the planet in that direction, the halfway points, which is going to be 45 degrees along the surface of the planet, you could make a true flat out of this terrain right here. Gravity would be pulling in the direction that I'm facing right now. And what you would end up with is squares that have a length on this side of 1 unit and a length on this side of about 1.41 units. So the square root of 2 on this side and 1 on this side. And you could also go to one of these corners on the planet, and you would have a grid of equilateral triangles like this, which I've never actually built like that. It sounds kind of neat. Let me open the diagram again real quick for anyone who's curious. So basically where you see the corners of the cube on the left in this diagram, if you went to that spot on the planet and tried to make a true flat base, you would end up with triangles that look like this for your floor. I believe these will also smooth correctly if you wanted to create a base like that. But it would be very difficult to create walls out of a shape like this because you're going to have this weird grid of tetrahedrons, and it would be interesting, to say the least, to see how this panned out if somebody built a base like this, but I've never tried to do it with this particular shape. I've only ever done it with just regular garden variety squares like the ones I have here. But this is actually a neat concept. Maybe I'll do that at some point, just see what that looks like. Maybe you could create some interesting shapes out of a base like this. I think you could still do true flat with this surface. I just don't know that you could make walls with it. So there we go. I think we're done monologuing now. You understood most of that. And you put money in the money hole. You know, you should tell me to hydrate, actually. I'm really thirsty now. I've been rambling. There we go. Okay, Vandal, I figured it was some CS stuff. Yeah, it's a mix of math and CS. This is part of why I went for computer science and math when I went to college. It's because those two things go together all the time, especially if you're doing anything gaming related or even like simulation related. Okay, thank you for the hydrate. I'll do it again. But like anything gaming, simulations, it doesn't have to be gaming. Like there's a lot of practical applications for understanding mathematics and by extension physics, which is a lot of mathematics, and those things are like really good on a resume. So like it's definitely a good industry to go into if math is your thing. If you're a nerd like I am, like don't hold back. Go to college and learn to do that stuff. Like it's a very valuable skill to have. We need eggheads. We need eggheads in our society to solve complicated problems that other people don't want to. Or in my case, I just play video games on the internet and explain things to people occasionally. Going to bed? Alright, thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. I hope the math doesn't frighten you too much. I don't know, do you like math, or are you one of those people that's just like, oh god, he's talking about math again, I need to mute the stream? Because I don't do this too much. I don't make like math lessons out of every stream, but I'm more than happy to answer questions if I know the answers. I don't know everything about math. I only got a minor in mathematics. I got my major in computer science. And there's a few things in mathematics that I just did not fucking learn correctly, partially because I think the lessons were kind of shitty, but also maybe I'm just not good at them in general. Like shit like differential equations, statistics, I never really learned those properly. I'm not sure why. But like things like just this kind of stuff, like vector calculus and linear algebra, like those were things I picked up a lot. Trigonometry, picked up on that pretty well. So there's a few things I do know about this stuff, and I could probably learn the ones that I don't know if I had to for the purposes of like a problem I needed to solve. Like there's no shame in looking things up that you learned in school and forgot. You'll be surprised how fast it comes back if you learned it properly. If you didn't learn it properly, it might be a little bit rougher. So we'll see. If I ever have to learn differential equations again, I'll report back on whether or not I actually ever learned how to do those or not. But I can tell you right now, I have no idea how to solve a differential equation. Like that is gone from my memory. I do not fucking remember how to solve those anymore. As well as trig identities. Like you could tell me about something trig related, and I'm not going to remember the identities off the top of my head. Like in this day and age, there's no reason to. Like careers, like potential employers aren't going to judge you based on whether or not you remember what the law of cosines is off the top of your head. They're going to judge you based on whether or not you can remember that the law of cosines exists and remember what problem it solves, like what data it relates, like the lengths of the sides of the triangle. Like remember that the law of cosines is basically the Pythagorean theorem, but for any triangle except right triangles. Like if you say that at an interview, they're going to give you at least a decent amount of partial credit because you know what it is, you just don't remember the exact formula off the top of your head. I'm rambling. What am I doing? I need to feed the snails and then go make sure that I have my smelters figured out. I think the copper smelter is good to go. So I might actually want to make a second canister and print a shitload of like power sensors. I do need to fix this, however. There's a few things I need to do here, so let's focus. Let's feed the snails initially. How are we doing on plants? I don't know why these are having so much trouble keeping up. I think we'll be fine. I only need to get one of each here. 2 of each for these ones. This one here, we don't need the last one because I don't use those snails. You remember you could calculate the growth of a population with a differential equation of e to the pi. Yep, I learned that as well. I don't remember how to do it, but the thing is I know I could just literally go to Wikipedia and look up like an exponential growth formula and be like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that. I can implement that. Like I'm still of the opinion that there's no shame in forgetting the things you learned as long as you can recall them when you need them. If you can like look it up on Wikipedia or go to like a math site or anywhere with reasonably accurate information and understand what you're reading and have it come back to you, then you learned it well enough. But there's so much information that you have to remember in this day and age that it's not really fair to expect people to just memorize every single trig identity. You just need to know that they exist and have something trigger in your monkey brain that tells you, wait a minute, this is familiar to me. And then you should be able to figure out what it is based on that. And if you're using it constantly, you'll eventually memorize it. But like I don't remember off the top of my head what the law of cosines is, and I literally named myself cosine. And I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as I could figure out what it is if I needed it. Because again, I know what it does. It's the Pythagorean theorem for any triangle. And if you know that information, you can use it. Just have to go look it up on Wikipedia and check on what it is. Waiting for this to top off here so I can send the rocket away. Let me get this off before it fills up with crap. And I think this might progress me to the next step if I'm not there already. That's the symbol for compound, right? Yeah, it's still asking for compound, so let's go see what it asks for next. I think it's going to switch to, like, raw copper or maybe aluminum alloy next. I don't remember what exactly it's going to switch to. I might have missed a hydrate. Probably. I'll just do one anyways. Oh, I missed your hydrate. Yeah, thank you. How you doing, me? Why don't I use big boy storages for what? You mean this thing? Because I mean, this is the big boy storage. This is the big chungus right here. This is the most storage density I'm getting for these materials. Okay, I see something there. It's going to ask for like aluminum or copper or something. I think it's going to ask for aluminum. Now that I think about it, I believe that's the next thing that it wants. I just wish I didn't have to send this away manually. I'll come back and optimize this at some point, but I want to prioritize other stuff. Unlocked amp throwback bundle. What was that? That new suit? What did I unlock? I already had this. Okay, I have no idea what was in that bundle. Okay, I think I unlocked... Yeah, okay, I just unlocked the copper plate. I think is what I just got. Maybe like a hat or something. Speaking of hats... I hate this. I'm equipping it. And I think I got... Oh god, really? Yeah, I think I got this as well. Why don't I use big boy storages? They're kind of a pain in the ass to make because I don't have nanocarbon alloy readily available. There's a lot of steps to it. I should do that. I'm going to do that at some point, but it's not a high priority at this exact moment in time. I will kind of incrementally do that. I might do that with the aluminum, for instance, because I know that we need to send that away pretty soon here. I'm not going to put that on. That looks ridiculous. We'll wear the hat. Yeehaw. Yeah, giddy up, partner. I look ridiculous. I'm wearing a fucking lab coat with just a hat, just a straw hat. Now, let's see, how many do I have in here? I have enough to send away one more shipment, but let me see what it wants now. Okay, it's still... What does it want? It looks like it still wants this. Let me go get some aluminum and see if I can get this to... See if it'll accept that. Let me go get like one piece of aluminum. Or the canister. I'll just grab a canister of aluminum. Oh. I need two actually, because I need to fill the extra slots. Alright, let's figure this out in a moment. Give me a second here. Alright, so how much is this worth? There's one in here. It's worth one. I have 6 aluminum in this one. It's worth 18. Okay, it does want aluminum. I think it's bugged. I think it's supposed to tell me that it wants me to gather aluminum. I wonder if I could skip ahead and go to the last one. Like, looking at these silhouettes here. This one is compound. Oh, you can mouse over them. Never mind, I'm a dumbass. Nanocarbon or tungsten carbide. Those are the other ones it'll accept. I can get a fuckload of aluminum really easily. I wonder if I could have been doing that the whole time. Oh, forget this shit then. I'm gonna use this on aluminum. Let's just put this here. Let's go do this over here. I guess it's because you can do all of them at once that they don't show a specific one to encourage you to do it. I remember a previous version of this event, they told you which material they wanted for each progression step. So that's why this kind of fucked me up a little bit. I need to turn off this auto arm so it doesn't start operating the factory while I do this. Okay, so that means that we can just kind of fill it up from the large canister here. That's good. That's a quality of life improvement. Carefully put that there. And eventually I'll switch it to tungsten carbide, which thankfully I have tungsten on this planet, so that'll be really easy to do, but I don't have the rest of the things I need automated. So I need to get the compound out of this canister so that it can become an aluminum canister. Where do I put that? Do I have any sitting around? I thought I had a canister full of compound. There it is. That's not going to have enough space at all. This is going to be a dilemma. I need another auto arm. Give me that. Okay, I need to print more canisters. Let's make some plastic. Never mind, we have plastic. Let's put off making plastic until later. Oh. Okay, while that's happening, we have a bunch of aluminum here that'll transfer back into the canister. I could actually just do that, like, right now. Because we know we're going to turn this whole system on anyways, so let me go ahead and plug it in now. Turn the arm on. Alright, so the second this is emptied out, it's going to start grabbing aluminum instead. And we're going to have tons of aluminum by the time I'm done with this crap. And we got even more here. I think the canister's ready now. I'm gonna end up with a couple empty canisters after all this, but that's fine. This is good for now. Might as well put the rest of the compound in here. And we don't need compound for a really long time now, which is also quite nice. Okay, that's all of it. Good. Got it. What are the snails doing? They're all fine. Unfortunately, this is quite slow. I could speed this up by just manually doing it myself. Come on, auto arm, get with the program. Pick it up. I know there's a faster way to do this by just putting this on a platform with a canister that's willing to receive it, but I don't have a platform nearby with space for it, and I'm already doubling down on my bad idea here, so we're unfortunately doing this the inefficient way because I'm a dumb idiot. Just bear with me. There we go. See, it worked. It was fine. It was a good idea. Alright, so while that's happening, let me go get one of these canisters and move it over here. I want to specifically convince it to empty this canister right here. And I want to stick one on the copper platform. Which, let me also pull this off for a second. One more. 0 more. The less, like, manual resource gathering I can do, the better, so hopefully I won't have to do this for too much longer, because it's kind of a pain in the ass. We're slowly automating stuff, and I will eventually just be able to move these canisters around and get things done, and not manually pick up resources. I'm slowly improving the quality of life here. How are we doing on compound? We have just enough space for all of these. Perfect. Okay, you need to calm down, auto arm. I just turned you off. Stop. Why are you still running? Why are you running? Alright, so I do want that to filter aluminum. I want to move these, and we're going to slap the trade platform right here. Okay, I need another empty storage. Actually, I can just take one that has a shitload of aluminum in it since we're shipping this in a moment. Okay, something like that, and then I'll just manually, or rather I don't have to manually do it, I can just do this. Okay, there we go. So I just have to walk over here and send this into space every now and then because we can't automate that for some reason. I could make 2 of them. I don't know if it's worth it. See how many terrible rewards it gives me, I suppose. Speaking of rewards, let me get the silo that I had over here and use that to store the extra crap that it gives me. Just grab this real quick. Come on. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, if you take out your terrain tool, your interact range gets like 3 or 4 times longer. Just to demonstrate that to anyone who wasn't aware of this. I can interact with this canister from this distance, right here, without my terrain tool out. That's as far as it goes. I can't grab anything behind it, but if I take my terrain tool out, I can interact with the silo back here. Just for whatever reason, that's just how this game works. I hope they never patch it because the default grab range fucking sucks. So, abuse it while you can, folks, if you didn't know that. Okay, let's launch that bad boy. 120 instead of the 40 that I was getting before. Off we go. And we got 44 more. And I don't think I'll run into any shortage. If I start running out of copper or aluminum, I can just stop sending the thing away. And we have a couple extra canisters now. I have no idea how it sniped that canister from that far away. Actually, this is going to aggressively put crap in my backpack. Well, we'll see how much that pisses me off before I add the option to turn it off. Okay, what was I doing next? Let's see. Stream for 6 hours. I could go a little longer. Probably not too much longer. I really don't want to be streaming until like 7 a.m. Well, let's see if we can get anything done here. So we automated our supply of copper, or not, yeah, of copper, and we already had aluminum. Copper's looking good. Is the system working as intended, though? I haven't checked it the whole way through. So based on the state it's in right now, I think the train should be at the extractor waiting to fill up. Let's see if it's doing that. Okay, looks like it is. That's going to get picked up, placed on the train. It's going to get sent away. Okay, I think this part of the automation is working correctly. It's going to go over here, it's going to get unloaded, and then just head back. And the bottleneck in this process isn't the train. I don't need to add more storage space here because the auto extractor is not going to be able to collect 4 resource nuggets in the time it took me to do that. The train will get back there before it has collected like even 1. And it has enough buffer space to hold 3 of them before the train arrives. So that's not the buffer, or that's not the bottleneck. I don't have to worry about the capacity of the train. That's why I only have the empty, like, 4 slots in the back. Even though I could store a lot more, I just don't need to. Okay, where was I? I was thinking, what do I want to do next? So we got some more metals here. We're not going to deal with tungsten carbide because I haven't automated that. The nearest tungsten is in the mountains behind the gateway. Like, I think over in that direction. I don't want to do that today. It's going to take too long. Let's go ahead and see if I can figure out how to finish this. So for anyone who stopped by later, this is what we're trying to solve here. How do I get this to be an auto farming plant system that will fill up these storages for me so that I never have to worry about the damn plants again? I just want to be able to run by and put them on my backpack and move on with my life. I have something set up right now, but it does not work correctly, and I need to redo it with a proper, like, timer because it gets deadlocked under certain circumstances. And that leaves us with this contraption here. So for a single one of these, this is what I wanted to create. This would be the trigger for when I take a resource off of the platform. And we have an AND gate here that basically says this thing needs to enable, and then this thing needs to also, like, cycle through this. So I think it worked last time I checked on it. I can activate it, and then this proximity repeater is going to go through a cycle of activating twice, waiting a few seconds, and then activating twice again. So this would be harvest, plant, wait, harvest, plant, and then wait a little while. And that means that when the plants eventually reach their full size, whenever that happens, the system will harvest them and plant them again almost immediately, and it'll just do that forever until the auto arm fills the storage, at which point this would get activated again, and it would do one more harvest, and then the AND gate is turned off, so it does not fire the power sensor, and that cuts off the loop. And that's essentially what we're trying to do here. I don't know why the seeds are making this sound. It's kind of weird. And in addition to that, I need to make these pits a little bit deeper because, as you can see, the plants are escaping their containment and getting all over the place, which I don't really want them to do. And unfortunately, this is much more convoluted than the original, very simple system that I had in place, and I probably need to space these out a little bit more. I want to set up like a proof of concept for this, however. So I'm thinking about how I want to do this. We'll do a little bit of painting so I can align these correctly, but before I do any of that, let me think about how I would lay these out. Or I guess I'll try to integrate it into this one right here before I dig up all the plants. So instead of a button repeater, we're going to have a storage sensor to activate the system. So I will go ahead and put this away. Going to have two of these. Can you put power switches on platforms? Or storages? I think you can. Let me actually make a second one instead of disrupting the one that I have now. Do I have more power switches? I think I do. I don't. So that's right. That's why I needed the copper. So let me make a couple more. Now that we have an insanely large amount of copper, we can make all the power switches in the world. Okay, just using the terrain tool to grab these things telepathically. I'm gonna need a lot of these, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make 4 of these real quick. They print really quickly. Okay, so can I plug them in? Nice, you can. Now that said, I don't have enough storage spaces to put all of these on a platform, but it's much easier to organize these if they're all on a platform, so I might try to make a couple of T platforms for this. Because I need room for a couple of timers. I need a few things. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be a good way to keep this organized and modular, and I don't have to worry about accidentally uprooting all of these things. Because if you dig around these with a terrain tool, sometimes they just fall off, just kind of frustrating. So I need to make a medium storage. And then a T platform. There it is. Medium T platform. I'm glad they made these cheaper than they used to be, because they're... Game, I really didn't want to pick that up, because they're way, like, better than the B platforms. I just had the B ones because they were useful for something I thought I needed to make, and then I didn't end up making it. What did I just print? Oh, never mind. Okay, I was worried that I printed the wrong thing. It hadn't printed the top half yet. Okay, we got these now. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick this up for now. I'll worry about aligning this to my OCD grid of perfection after I've got it refined. I just put this here. Kind of looks better there. Alright, so the auto arm would go like this, and then I should be able to put all the circuitry related crap here. There is a potential problem with having this on the power grid, and that is that if my power goes out, everything breaks. Let's see, what are the implications of the power going out? In this particular case, this would toggle once on its own. The plants would basically auto-harvest themselves if the power went out. So maybe I'm actually not going to use this. I might just use 2 of these A platforms instead, because I specifically want this isolated from the power grid. So we might not end up using this. That's fine. I'll use these later. These have other applications. Nothing's going to waste here. Alright, so let's just go back to this thing for now. put that back. Okay, and then the wiring that I need to set up is we need a battery. The battery has to be on the ground, actually, I think. Or no, I could just plug it into the platform that it's sitting on. So the battery can just go wherever, it doesn't actually matter. Okay, so we would power one of these. And again, these things are basically functioning as an AND gate right now. I can just barely get in here and connect these two together. So that's our AND gate. We have our battery, and then we have a power sensor at the end of it, which is this thing here. I'll rotate it just so it's easier to see what I'm doing. Ooh, the power sensor, however, doesn't have cable plugs, so I do have to put the power sensor on the floor, which is kind of lame. Yeah, well, we'll have to put one thing on the ground then, so that'll be somewhere off to the side. Devs, please put cable plugs on the power sensor. Unless... no, I have to do it like this. I can't just attach it to this platform. Okay, so we have our power sensor. And a wire that honestly doesn't look nearly as twisty as I thought it would. And then we need 2 delay repeaters. Do I have extra delay repeaters? Probably not. Let's go make a couple more. We're going to need more anyways. Luckily all the repeaters are very cheap. They just cost 1 zinc. I do need to really just print like a full silo of these things instead of doing it one at a time, but this is kind of proof of concept stuff right now. Just making sure it works before I go all in on it. Alright, so we have 2 delay repeaters. I'm just going to stick these off on the side where they're easy to access. I can move them around later. And the way that I set this up was the incoming signal from the power sensor hits a delay repeater. Where's the power sensor? Oh, it's on the floor over here. Right, that's gonna suck. Doesn't really matter where I put these plugs. I'm just gonna stick them wherever. Right, so the signal from the power sensor hits the delay repeater. I also have it hitting the proximity repeater, which is probably a good thing. So we'll go ahead and hook it up to the proximity repeater, the one that it would be attached to over here. If I get lucky, I can pull these around without disconnecting any of them. Okay, then we hit the delay repeater, which we want to wait 25 not frames. This is about 4 seconds. And then that delay repeater is going to hit this other one. And can I get that target pin or segment pin out of there? I just need to stick it on the side somewhere where I can access it later. Good enough. Doesn't matter where the segment pin is as long as I can get to it. So let's see. When that goes off, we trigger this thing. And we trigger the other delay repeater. And then the other delay repeater is on a much shorter delay. This is 2 seconds roughly. Or maybe exactly, I'm not 100% sure. And that delay repeater has another target pin. It fires this again. This will harvest this will replant the seeds a couple seconds after I harvest them. And then let's see, they're both supposed to hit the second node on the AND gate. So this one right here. Okay, this is kind of convoluted, but it's unreadable, but this is a much easier way to organize these things without having to worry about, like, accidentally picking them up off the floor or having them fall over. I think this is actually everything I had to do here. So we go ahead and attach this to the other half of the AND gate. And then this platform is just going to be just kind of somewhere in this area that the auto arm can't put crap on it. Let me get another small platform for this real quick. This is another thing I need to mass produce like a tremendous number of because I'm going to need a lot of these. There we go. We need a lot of these platform aids because they're very useful for just holding auto arms and nothing else. We only need one right now. Get the other one later. Didn't end up using this. I'll just pack this up and use it for something else in the future if I need it. So it would be something like this. And then for anyone who wants to know how you align things like this when you're on a true flat surface, it's kind of trial and error, but it's not too difficult. You just want to put on the inhibitor mod, get a paint tool that's any color except the one that you're normally using, get the narrow mod. And then you just kind of draw like this, and you can get like little hash marks on the ground to work with. So if you have OCD like I do and you really want everything to be like perfectly pretty, you can just do this. So I'm gonna just visually straighten this out. Said you had to stop watching. What was it, Final Fantasy? I understand completely if it was Final Fantasy. You gotta have your priorities in place. Like if there's a raid that needs to happen, yes, it was. Why am I even? I'm not surprised. Like I was about to say, why am I not surprised? That's the phrase that a normal person would have said in that situation, instead of whatever the fuck just came out of my mouth. How do I want to do this? I could put this in the center. Like that. Don't worry about it being all fucked up and sloped like that. I can actually fix that. Why is it fucked up like that? This pit is not even that close. You got invited and they're sweet, so you felt bad. I can just move it back a tile, actually. Or maybe I can move the pit over a tile. Okay, it's going to keep doing that until I smooth this out. So sorry, plants, you gotta go for a second. Where is the boost mod? It's always good to have the boost mod when you're doing terraforming like this. So if anyone's still here from when I was explaining the terraforming stuff earlier, you need soil to start with. And then you can see kind of how I construct stuff like this. Yeah, this is gonna mess up most of these plants. You're supposed to have the inhibitor mod turned off, that's why nothing was happening. While I'm at this, I might as well just deepen the pit, since I know I need to make a deeper crater for these things. Alright, that should allow me to put the arm in the correct spot now without the platform tilting. Why are you tilted, bro? Okay, good. There we go. Let's lock that in before I screw this up again. That doesn't look like it's centered, because it's not. It rotated slightly when I moved it. There we go. That's perfect. That satisfies my crippling OCD. And then the second platform is this monstrosity right here, which I might move these around later. I just want to make sure the arm cannot place anything on this platform. So I think I have to stick it off to the side. I don't really have a choice in the matter, because otherwise the arm can reach this. So we'll just stick it right over here. I'm trying not to pull it far away enough to actually disconnect anything. Unfortunately, there's only 3 slots on this terrain tool. Devs, please add a 4th slot, for the love of God. I would be so happy if there was a 4th slot on this terrain tool, or just additional inventory slots in this game in general. Okay, me picking this whole thing up for some reason really confused the farm. I have no idea what just happened there. Why did it turn on? I'm gonna take the battery off just so this thing stops doing stuff while I'm busy. I have no idea why it turned on when I picked it up. This game is weird. Anyways, let's align this. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me build all of these. I can make the rest of them off stream. I just want people to be able to see the construction process, because I think that's the most interesting content for these streams. I will probably construct the other 4 plants off stream, because it's just gonna be me doing the same thing. And I don't find that to be terribly interesting, personally. And in general, I don't want to be pressured to do it quickly or efficiently when I might just want to chip away at it while I'm waiting for something else to happen. While I'm doing other real-life things. Alright, so this thing I'm going to place over here. Just kind of sort of wing it. This one doesn't have to be perfectly aligned to anything. I can straighten it out at least by doing that. attach it like right there. So these are going in the wrong direction, and I need to go this way, put the battery back on the platform. Okay. Oh, you know what happened? This is on the wrong cycle. Let me toggle this. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Well, that is a mess that I made here. So where does this arm reach? The crater is, I think, 3. Could make it 4 and make it a little deeper. Yeah, the arm would be able to reach all those. So let's make this a little bit deeper. I need this to stop growing so that I can get these plants out of here. I guess I can just get them out by doing this. Dude, it's quite a mess. And then we need to make it a little bit deeper. So I get this off. And here's how I would make a small hole like this. For anyone curious, if you're trying to make something more precise than a giant super flat base. Now you're going to want the boost mod, you want the narrow mod, which I'm going to turn off initially. You need these plants to not be in the way, so give that a second. I'm waiting for these to finish growing. It'll only take like a few seconds. Plants grow very fast in this universe. And then I harvest them without replanting any of them. And I gotta ease my way in here and just kind of eyeball the depth of this pit. Let me move the proximity repeater out of the way so I don't accidentally set all that off again. Oh my god, there's so many of these seeds in the way. Alright, so anyways, you want to eyeball the depth of the pit. I'm trying to make the pit 1 tile deeper so the plant seeds don't fall out as easily. So you gotta overshoot by a bit. And then throw the leveling block in there and just kind of hope that it winds up at the correct height. It's going to add about 1 tile, but it's going to make it perfectly flat, which is what we're going for here. So let me slap it in right there. Hopefully it'll work. It's not working because there are probably too many seeds in the way. Unfortunately, these are going to take forever to despawn, so I just kind of need to throw them off to the side right now. Again, this is why I do these things off stream. I'm not going to do the rest of them because it's going to be a huge pain in the ass and nobody wants to watch me juggle seeds for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is probably a generous estimate of how long this is going to take if I find more problems. Okay, so what did that create? These 2 triangles here are suspect. This right here, this square, is probably true flat, so I think we can use this. Very carefully smooth it out into a pit. Oh my goodness, why did those all blow up at once? Okay, so that should be true flat, and the pit is now 2 deep. 2 deep as in 2, the number 2, not 2 deep as in I don't want it to be that deep. I don't know why I'm clarifying this, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So I'm going to grab a triangle in the middle that's probably still, like, fine. I just need to be careful not to sample a triangle that's not perfectly flat. I explained this earlier. If you do that, the precision errors will ruin everything. This triangle should also be... Actually, that one... I'll know pretty quickly if this one's not flat, so I am going to risk maybe this one right here. Let's try this one. Okay, yeah, that snapping that's happening there means that these are probably perfectly flat. Like, the game tends to, like, try to adhere to this grid. Why am I floating? Why are there seeds rolling under my feet? Game, stop. Alright, how about this side? We do not have... Oh, interesting, I might have accidentally made the 1x2 slope that I was mentioning earlier. This polygon here might be a perfect 1x2, not really sure. No, it's not. You can see it with the lighting over here. It's not quite. Yeah, you can see the triangles are highlighted differently. That's not actually what I wanted it to be. Alright, so anyways, I need to get that smooth surface. So in order to do that, I'm also just going to use the leveling block because it's easy. Just kind of, again, stick it over here, build it, and that right there is perfectly flat. and smooth off of that with the narrow mod. And then we need to do that one more time for the backside here. So the seeds are sort of kind of despawning now. I'm not gonna run out, I have plenty in storage. And there's our last one. And then all I have to really do is extend this pit over in this direction here. And I will do that in a moment. Because first I want to verify that I've done everything else here correctly. So let's go ahead and paint it in. And if you want to paint the default tool color, you don't actually need to sample it. I found this out a while ago. You don't need to sample it, you can just put the terrain inhibitor on your terrain tool, and with no other mods, if you try to build terrain, it just paints that color. So you don't have to actually sample that particular one, that's the default. Seeds out of the way real quick. Okay, and I'll clean up the mess I made over here later, once I'm done with all this nonsense. So what we have here is an auto arm, which despite the weird looking shape it's showing here, can reach basically anything in this pit without any problems. Like, I know how these things work. It can grab all the seeds at the bottom of this pit, even if it doesn't look like it. So what I was also doing here was I was sharing these proximity repeaters between a couple of these. But I was having issues with the seeds encroaching upon each other's territories. I might have to space these out a little bit more. For now, let's just slap it down in the spot where we know it works, which it'll get both of these bunches. And just kind of plant the seeds in here, and hopefully they'll stay put. I don't need a ton of them. That's fine, I think. They're roughly centered around here. We don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to go ahead and plant them all. I didn't want to plant this one, but whatever. I should plant a few more of these over here, but I'll smooth out that pit before I do any of that nonsense. Okay, and then the test here is if I take one of these seeds off to give to my snail, hypothetically, it was supposed to turn the auto arm on. I forgot to do that. Let me pretend that it finished. So which of these do I want to trigger the auto arm? Let's look at the big diagram, this one here. I want the auto arm activated by the storage sensor itself, which is this thing here. So let me add another target pin. And that will also trigger the arm. And then when I take one off, the arm will turn on and it'll sit there and wait for the harvest to provide enough seeds to shut down the system. I'm gonna go ahead and let that happen naturally once. And if that works, then I think I'm good to go. And we have a working plant farm, fully automated. All I have to do is walk over here, grab the one I want, and it'll auto-replenish. These don't grow unless the player is near them, but the system will basically wait until I get close to it. Let's see, how did that go? It turned itself off, a few of them still replanted. And that should be sustainable. I'm still up. I don't know why you're surprised by that. That's usually what ends up happening. Look, I've got to play some of the video game. I can't just play Astroneer for like 2 hours and then just call it quits. No, we got to play it for like 8 hours, 9 hours, 11 hours, 24-hour Astroneer stream. I'm never going to bed for the rest of my life. That's how things happen around this stream. I have no self-control whatsoever. I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna end the stream within an hour because it is getting late. But it ain't late enough because we're still doing this. You know what? Maybe I will just. I think I'm going to smooth out the pit now. I'm not going to build the rest of them just yet. I'm going to go ahead and smooth out the pit now. So let me go ahead and do that. We have it all sampled out, so the hard part is finished. I just need to actually create the rest of the shape and extend it out over here. We don't want the narrow mod initially. This right here should do it. Getting early. Yeah, this counts as an early stream, I think, if I do this for long enough. I'm gonna build a second one, actually, so I can see what the spacing looks like. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and do now. This pit is... I could narrow it down a little bit. I want this to be compact. I would like it to be efficient on space here, because I have to walk to the end to grab these if I make it really big. I'm gonna make a few more of these A platforms. Yeah, I'm happy I added it too. I quite like this song. Very calming. I think it goes well with this game, especially when I'm just kind of just roaming around, not doing anything particularly exciting. Very good music. Like, I mentioned this before, if anyone has like Final Fantasy music, like either of you two, or really anybody has music that you think fits the vibe of the stream, like you're free to suggest it to me. I won't guarantee that I'm going to accept it, but I'll definitely consider it. But this one in particular very much fits what I'm doing here. So we can just get rid of this pin. It's very calming. Okay, is this auto arm facing in the wrong direction? I think it was just facing backwards when I turned it off. Okay, so if I try to do this, the problem I've been having here is that these auto arms are stupid and they're like intruding upon each other's space. That the Shapes music, I did not listen to the Shapes music yet. Again, I was not expecting to stream today, this was unplanned, so I didn't actually prep anything new for the playlist. Like, it is on the to-do list of things to look into. I just didn't have time to do it because things happened. It's a Factorio game stripped to its base element, which is factories and infinite space. I could look into the game as well, actually. That might be kind of interesting. I might give that game a look. Definitely need to actually get new video games. I mean, we've got Power Wash Simulator, but once I finish that game, I need something else to do with my time. It's not going to be Astroneer forever. There's only so much I can do with this video game. I need the inhibitor mod. Let me smooth this back out first. I brush over it a bunch of times like this because it does have an effect. If you don't smooth out the terrain perfectly, you will end up with the non-perfect slopes, and if you sample one of those later, it'll ruin everything. So I am trying to take care to actually smooth things out correctly when I do this. It has to be perfect. I don't know why the game won't let me interact with that. Whatever, good enough. Alright, so the cramped design would look something like this, with these platforms just like crammed in here, and the problem with this is that these seeds are going to slowly encroach upon each other's territory and screw everything up. So I'm going to move these a little bit further apart and see if that has a better outcome. Give myself a flat surface to level out these platforms against. There we go, perfect. I'm just looking at the feet of the platform right now to see if it's pretty much straightened out. Okay, we slap one down there. Is it tilted? It's tilted. Oh, it's tilted because I didn't smooth out the pit yet. We can't quite do this just yet. Let me finish this. Bring inhibitor off. Boost mod on. Just gonna do this real quick. Get a little more terrain to work with. And we'll do it on the back while I'm at it. I don't know how far over this is going to go yet, so I'm not going to build the rest of this just yet. Got plenty to work with. So the spacing on this is going to be... So I can just use this surface to level out the platforms. Again, I'm just looking at the feet so I can line it up. Alright, straight. I wanted to put it right there. And then this one, it's already straightened out, and it needs to go right next to this. Okay, so if I were to do that, what is the overlap on these? Do I have room to put like a barrier between them using the true flat? If I was going to make that barrier, it would be right here. It would give me a 2-tile ditch. That might actually work. Oops, I have the wrong tool equipped. Alright, now I have the right tool equipped. Why'd that happen? I probably pressed the wrong button. Okay, so I would be basically doing this here. Is it going to connect on its own? Kind of. I'm not entirely sure what the game is trying to do here, but I can tidy that up in a moment. Yeah, this one would be one narrower. Yeah, it'd be a 2-wide ditch. Like on either side. I keep pressing the wrong button, that's what I'm doing. This is what I need to be doing. Okay, and there'd be another one right here, and this is what we'd wind up with if I did this. That looks actually kind of cool. Like, I need to fill it in underneath. This is definitely going to not work. But I'm thinking I could isolate the seeds to each individual slot like this. I will need to use the leveling block for that, though, and I wonder if these 1-tile protrusions are going to cause problems later. Because the game doesn't seem to want to build this. What would happen if I just, like, added a little bit of terrain like this? Could I get this? Could I just sort of, like, half-ass this and get it to work, or am I going to have to fight it? Let me get the proximity repeater out of here. Okay, so that's filled in. It's not really snapping to a grid. I'm going to have to fight with this to get this to level out. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do the rest of these off stream. But let's get one of them working. I'm going to go ahead and use the leveling block to set this up, and hopefully it doesn't create the mess that I think it's going to create when I place it. So where is it? Is it in my inventory? There it is. I'm worried it's going to create a big mess, but we're going to go ahead and try it anyways. I'll put it right here. Okay, that created the slope on one side. I'm going to try to get this to fill. That triangle right there should be true flat. Okay, that's one side of the ditch. Now as for this here, the problem is the leveling block makes a 2x2 cube, so it's going to fill in a little bit of terrain when I use it. And I'll just have to dig it back out. So let's go ahead and put that like right here. Alright, so I'll put it over here. I was about to complain that it fell through the ground, but the game actually saved it for me. It pulled it back up. Ooh, voice break. Okay, this is doable. I think it's just going to be a little tedious with the leveling blocks. Okay, here's another way that I can do this that I didn't want to do. Is I could sample a wall from up here and bring it down there. The way I would usually do this is I'd move outside of the build tool range so that the game can't actually smooth here, but I can still sample it. I could pull it down there, I could walk back in range, and then the terrain tool will start smoothing in the new location with the plane that I sampled from the other one. So that's how you can bridge a gap without actually having to smooth across the gap. You just have to go outside of your terrain tool's range. And just like that, we pulled the slope from here down to this spot without actually drawing a ramp in that intervening space. There's a fun tip for you aspiring Astroneer builders out there. And this is... Wait, did that fuck up the other side of the wall? Oh boy. Or did I not do this side of the wall? I can do the same thing a second time if I need to. I'm wondering if I'm not going to be able to make it one thick, because the game really doesn't seem to want to let me do that. Let's go ahead and clean this up and try it from the other side. Alright, so the other one's over here. We're going to do the same thing. Never mind. We Ran out of soil again. Let me get more. Need to get some from over here. I should really be carrying around a soil canister, like a medium one for this. I gotta keep making these leveling blocks. And I gotta dig up a little bit of extra soil so I can actually smooth terrain. Just grab a little bit from here. I'm gonna carve this all out eventually anyways. The only reason I haven't gotten rid of this chunk of terrain is because that's where the ammonium is. But eventually I'm gonna move the ammonium farm to a better spot. Okay, back to the small mod, narrow mod, whatever it's called. And we have another leveling block. So let's do the same thing with this slope. And if that screws up along the other side, that means I can't have these be one thick. The game engine just doesn't want me to do it. So I'm sampling by holding control, and then I move towards it. And there we go. Did that screw up the other side? Yes, it did. I think I'm not going to be able to make it one thickness. Yeah, every time I modify one side, the other side... Never mind, the other side doesn't get screwed up. It's fine now. Okay, I don't know why that works this time. Okay, never mind, JK, you can do it. It works. I don't understand this video game. So, can this repeater reach the ones over there? It probably can, but that's not really an issue because it'll replant any seeds that it farms on the other side of the barrier. If I start really running into issues, I'll go ahead and move these to be a little further apart. I should probably move them anyways. This one's only gonna be... Let's see, how's this gonna work? You know, I see the writing on the wall. I should do this, and I should move them now. This is going to be a problem. My intuition is telling me that this is going to be an issue, so I'm going to go ahead and move it one over. It'll solve a lot of problems later. Because, like, something is going to cause problems with them being able to interact with the wrong spots. Because I think the auto arms are going to be fine, but the proximity repeater being able to reach the pit next to it is potentially going to cause issues in the future, and I want to avoid that. So let's go ahead and move it just one over. And once I have these two figured out, again, I'll do the rest of them off stream, so nobody has to sit through all this nonsense. Because it will just be me doing the same thing over and over again. I got a bad feeling something's not true flat anymore, because these should be snapping. I can use the leveling block now because this is too thick. Honestly, I could kind of build this structure with the leveling blocks since it's the exact right size now. This is definitely the better way to do this. I don't need to save that much space. See, you might not be able to see this very easily on the stream, but this corner lost its true flat at some point. I'm not sure when. I don't know what exactly got unsnapped, but I need to slap the leveling block back in there to fix that. There we go. Now it's nice and lined up again, and it's snapping correctly. It's always going to produce these ramps. This is just... You can't get like a hard 90-degree inside corner. You can get an outside corner like this one here, but for the inside corners, the game is always going to try to create these 45-degree ramps. That's just how the game engine handles this situation. So you just get used to it and build around that. It's kind of nice. It makes things smoother looking. I would rather have the 90-degree angles, but the game just won't do it. It is what it is. It just has something to do with how exactly they handled the voxel engine in this game. I don't know the technical details of it. Okay, and we'll worry about the other side of that wall later. Let's just get this side all sorted out. And that should be true flat. Very hard to tell because it is very bright, but I do believe everything is smoothed out and looks correct. So I should have a second proximity repeater. It's the one I was using over here for my sample. Gonna need more later. I'm just gonna grab this one that was being used for the middle and slap it in here. So the proximity repeaters can't reach the other pits now, which is kind of what I wanted. So I'll just kind of center it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. And we need to create another one of these things, and that's where I'm going to cut off this particular project because I think I figured out the spacing for everything. I will do the rest of that off stream because it's going to be tedious. It's going to be me building the same thing 4 more times. But the gist of it is this one right here. So I need a seed. I pick it up. These get auto-harvested. I'm going to distribute them a little bit better so they're more consistent. And then the system will replant them, turn itself off. I'm going to manually redo these ones. And then in the event that I were to grab another one before they're done growing, the auto arm is just going to sit here and wait for them to come back. And that was the thing that the previous system was not doing. It was not able to handle this case where I came back before the plants were done growing. That would break everything. But the new one seems to be able to handle that correctly. And the thing is, the plants don't grow while you're not here, so that was happening a lot because I would pick up the seeds, run away, come back for more seeds like 2 hours later, and the plants still hadn't grown in because I was not near them, and everything broke because of that. Why is this... Okay, alright, it's supposed to do that. It's just gonna make weird noises. So these are almost done growing. I'll probably figure out a more, like, comprehensible way to lay these elements out. There it goes. And then it's gonna do one more cycle. And it planted any of the seeds that it could, which there's a surplus. These will just despawn. These two didn't get harvested, none of that matters because there's enough in here to sustain the system. So the only problem I could anticipate seeing here is if these eventually run out at some point, like maybe not enough of them are replanting, but they all produce 2. And I'm generally only going to grab like 1 or 2 at a time. So that might be a problem for the future. And the way to fix that, if that starts happening, is to make sure that the delay repeaters run for longer. I think would be the way to do it. To make sure that I don't have seeds sitting around that haven't settled yet and fail to replant. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe we'll have problems in the future and we'll come back to this issue, but for now I am satisfied with this, so let's go do something else and then maybe call it on the stream. That's enough looking at plants for now. So what else can we do? We just got a free shipment of crap. And I say crap, but these are actually useful items. Gotta have another power switch. Okay, I'm actually quite glad that they're sending me a bunch of automated related stuff. Because these are things I need, like power switches and repeaters and whatnot. Extenders, okay, maybe I'm not too stoked about the extenders. Those are going in the pile. We're not using those for anything. Relay repeater and a splitter. We're probably never going to use that. The splitter is kind of useless. You can measure power flow with it, but I've never used it for the splitting functionality. Or not efficiently. I tried to use it for that and it didn't work, so I gave up. Okay, as for this system here, this seems to be running automatically. The train is never here. The system is always waiting for aluminum to show up, and if I go down there, the train should just be waiting at the auto arm for more aluminum. And eventually that auto arm will run out, but I can go down there and provoke it manually if I need to, and then I think every time I reload the save, it'll also resupply itself. I'm going to leave all these platforms over here because I've been screwing around with these plants a lot. I might want them later. I'll eventually pack them up if I don't find a use for them. Okay, let's try to do something a little bit more interesting. Oh, there it is. It's working. Beautiful. I don't know what's making that noise over here. One of the seeds, probably. Okay, so the only other consideration I have is, in the interim, I need to pay attention and make sure I don't run out of seeds, since the rest of the system is basically shut down at this point. It's not going to work. Like, that fell over and nothing is working correctly here anymore. Okay, I think that sound might be the sound the seeds make right before they despawn. Didn't actually know they made a noise. Yeah, like this is waiting for a harvest that's never going to happen now. Now, where's my snail friend? Alright, so default terrain tool arrangement is these items. Unfortunately, you need the drill 3 because the snail does not provide that for you. And then the top slot is usually just a wild card, whatever I decide to put there. Okay, I think our inventory is back to its glorious normal self. Okay, let's see, what else did I want to do? I could drop up a couple more of the triptychs, or triptychs, I don't know how to pronounce it, the things that go on in the core of the planets. I could drop a couple of those off on the satellite, but we're still not going to beat the game until I've basically satisfied myself in this playthrough. I think the only two I haven't placed are probably Glacio and one that I don't remember. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that while I'm stalling, thinking about what I want to do next here before I end the stream. I want to do something a little more interesting, so let's get out of the base and do something fun. Not to say this wasn't fun, but let's do something exciting fun. Maybe I'll come up with an excuse to go into the flying machine, just in case anyone hasn't seen that yet, anyone new here. Stick around if you want to see a flying machine that isn't a rocket, because I'm going to go ahead and do that in a moment here. Maybe I could go to Glacio with the flying machine and light a few gateways. How many RTGs do I have on this? We got 5. I think Glacio needs... That should work. That should be enough power. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go fly around a little bit, have some fun. So I want to get a diamond so that I can go to Glacio's core just while I'm there, just for funsies. And I need graphene for that. I do not have any hydrazine on this thing. Go ahead and make the second one, then we'll make the diamond, we'll take that to Glacio. I think silicone was the other material that I need, so I'll go ahead and make that while I'm at it, just in case I accidentally land on Novus. Silicone is quartz and resin, I believe. If this isn't the material that I need, it's not the end of the world. I'll definitely be using these later. Let's go ahead and make the diamond. How many packages do I have, actually? That's important. I'm gonna need a lot of packages if I find anything of interest. Make a little bit of graphite. I need to automate graphite farming as well. I believe there is graphite in the mountains over there. That's probably where I'm going to get it from. But I need to automate that. I haven't done that yet. I have an auto extractor sitting here. There's plenty left for me to do here. And we got some extra graphite here. So we got a few there. I can make a couple more packages. I hate the fact that power cells are graphite. I want to delete the power cells from my crafting menu. I'm never going to make power cells. Completely useless item. Go ahead and make a couple more of these. I'll just use all the graphite for this. Here's our diamond. Get our silicone. Where's the silicone? I never made it. Methane. Which of these is methane? First try. Okay, and then I want to make one more graphene, I think. Because it might be graphene that I need to get the last triptych. I still don't know how to pronounce that word. If anyone knows how to pronounce that word, do please inform me. And then we're gonna go on a flight, and there's a few different places I could wind up and pretend that they're where I'm intending to go, but I want to go to Glacio. I'm just waiting for this. Am I out of power? Ooh, we're pushing the power limits again. That's gonna be something for next stream, I think. What are we running out on here? We have... Yeah, the batteries are drained. I'm gonna need to make another silo of batteries. Okay, that'll be something to do on the next stream. We'll make 12 more batteries. I still have not been having issues with the solar panels, but I might reach a point where the solar panels aren't able to top off the batteries anymore. I haven't gotten in a vehicle in a while, actually. I haven't had a save happen. Devs, please add autosaves. And while you're at it, delete the save feature from vehicles, because I don't want that to happen. Only auto saves and manual saves, thanks. Alright, so we got a bunch of rail related stuff. Just leave those there. Got an extra silo. And we want the diamond, the silicone, and 1 graphene. And one of those things is what I need. And then we're gonna go on a flight. Packages. We got plenty there. Okay, we're good to go on packages. And for anyone wondering, you can store packages like this. You don't have to, and in fact, you shouldn't put them in storage slots because this is way more efficient and also more ridiculous looking. And I like it when things look ridiculous. Makes it more exciting. I could add a little afro. I can add a little mullet to the back too. It's got a mullet now. Looking good, Sila. Where is... There's a graphene. I think I got everything I wanted. Do I need to bring any dynamite? Probably not. Do I have the storage? I have a large starship one. I forgot I brought this home. This makes loud noises. I like loud noises. Unfortunately, I don't have a spot for it on my rover. I would absolutely put it there, but it's too big. It takes up too much space, so we're not going to do that. I think we're good to go. So let's go dick around. We might find some marbles. We're going to activate a few gateways. I do intend to activate every gateway, even though you only have to do that for an achievement, apparently, not the missions. I have the achievement. I'm going to do it anyways, because it's kind of fun. It's an excuse to fly around, and it's a good excuse to show people something they may have never seen before. So in this video game, you don't need rockets to go between the planets, and I'll explain in a moment why. I go over this briefly every single time I show this. But first of all, I need to flip this on its back. There is a very specific position that I need this rover to be in. I don't know why it refuses to flip over right now. Come on. Come on your back. On your back. What is it stuck on? Is there a tiny, like almost invisible piece of terrain in this spot? I think there's actually a tiny floating bit of terrain there that's catching the rover. I wonder if I could spot it real quick. I'm not going to look for this for too long. I'm just going to see if I can spot it right now. That plant up there is having fun. Yeah, I can't spot it. Whatever, I'll just try to flip it over somewhere else. There's probably a tiny little invisible, not invisible, but like microscopically small piece of terrain floating in the air in that spot. Anyways, we want to flip the rover over. And then you want to put a winch in a very precise spot. It's mostly important that you center it on the bottom, but also get this distance. This is the best I can do for visual aids for anyone who's curious about this. You can look at the VOD later if you want to follow along. Right about there should work. Okay, so what I have done here is set up a troll science machine where I have a winch attached to the rover, which is pulling on the rover. And in real life, this doesn't work, but in video games, this is basically putting a magnet in front of a red wagon and then holding the magnet in front of it with a fishing rod and getting pulled forward by the magnet. This rover wants to go. Like, it wants to go forward. And we're going to use that to fly. And the other thing that I'm going to show real quick is this shitty diagram I drew because I just love drawing things in paint instead of actually coming up with good demonstrations for things. I'm on Calidor. And the south and north are labeled. The other axes, I don't know what they are, and they're not really important. I want to go to Glacio, however. And in order to get to Glacio, you can fly straight to the planets. Like, the planets look like they're in, like, kind of an orbit around the sun, wherever that is. None of them are in sight, so I can't actually show that. But in the game engine, they're actually in the positions shown in that diagram right there. Like, they're just arranged around Silva. They're invisible, but if you fly close to them, they start to render. And if you want to fly between them with anything but a rocket, you need to actually go to the locations of the planets and not the fake ones that are floating in the void of space. And that's what we're going to be doing here. Now the thing is, I want to go to Glacia. I believe, if I recall correctly, that the direction of Glacio is on the opposite side of this planet. Like, I am currently, I can't really show this to you, like I don't have a cursor visible, but I am on the side of Calidor that is facing De Solo. That's roughly where this base is. De Solo, if you look at the game and not the image, is up there, where I'm circling my cursor. That's where it's floating in space. And Glacio is on the opposite side of the planet. So it's basically that way, like through the planet, out into the void of space. That is how I'm going to get to Glacio. That is where we're trying to go. And we'll probably run past Silva or otherwise get lost along the way, but I shouldn't have to worry about flying too far into the void of space. So far, I have not soft-locked myself doing this. So let's go for it. How's the playlist doing? That was the end of the playlist. How convenient. We're going to play a different song. That's not the song we're playing. I just still have that video open. Let's see. Soviet Winter really liked this song, so we'll go ahead and play this one again. Wait, what was the song? Was it level 1? Yeah, okay, it was. Alright. And we're off. Sort of. Maybe I didn't tension the winch enough. Okay, hold on. I need to tension the winch harder. I didn't pull it hot enough. I need a little more speed to get off the planet reliably. Once again, position the camera. I'm going to pull it a little tighter than that this time. I think I had it too short. So center it, pull it back from that axle just a little further. There we go, that should do it. Oh yeah, it wants to go now. Alright, and we're off. So again, the solo is in that direction. I am going to go over here. I don't know why the game froze for a second there. It's scary. And hopefully, I won't screw this up. We'll see. Anyone who hasn't seen this before, I say this every time I do this, this thing is insanely difficult to control. I cannot describe how difficult it is to control this vehicle right now. It is pulling in random-ass directions. There's Silva. I'm doing my best to keep it going in a straight line in the direction that I want. It is just accelerating forward into the void of space. And if I want it to go the opposite direction, I have to turn around and let it accelerate that way. Are we actually going to get to Glacio on the first try? Nope, we're overshooting it. Alright, I'm going to have to kind of reverse. And it really doesn't matter where I land, these vehicles cannot take fall damage. I just need to hit the ground. But we got to Glacio. I didn't get lost in space like I usually do when I do this. In case you're wondering, no, there are no orbital physics in this game. There is literally no gravity through this planet until you cross a specific threshold, and then suddenly you just have gravity. It just turns on abruptly. Like, it does not ease in like it would realistically. So you can't orbit planets in this game. It's not realistic in that regard. The rockets just simulate that by just moving on rails pretty much. This thing is behaving really poorly. I need to redo the winch. I must not have it on center. It's trying to spin constantly. Either way, we've touched down. You lost it to the cloud and you're making you want to play it. Oh, you lost your save? I mean, you can always start a new one. How long has it been since you played the game? They've added a lot of new content. Like, I would say it's worth playing through it again unless you just thought that was a slog for some reason and don't want to do that. But there you go, folks. Anyone who hadn't seen that, you can just set up a winch and fly a rover like this. And it's glorious, and I love doing this. Just beware, you're probably going to lose it in space if you don't get practice with it, because it is extremely hard to control. I am currently trying to pull my rover out of the dirt right now, by the way. You can see about how well that's going. Come on, I'm trying not to dig the terrain. I haven't actually explained this yet today, but increasing your save file size is directly correlated to how much terrain you dig out, mostly. It also correlates to like resource nodules, but for the most part, it's how much terrain you've dug out is what controls that. And I'm trying to avoid digging out terrain when possible, because every little bit makes my save slower, is what happens. Everything's a little bit laggier, and it takes a little bit longer for the game to save every time you get in a vehicle, as I just did right there. So I'm trying to avoid doing that when possible. So if anybody was wondering why their save feels like it gets progressively shittier the longer you play the game, like it takes longer to save, that's why. 2 years ago. That might be before they added the rail update. The rails and the snails, as chat keeps saying, which I hate, but that's what I've been calling this update to. I mean, I don't know. It's up to you if you want to replay the game and back up your save this time. Don't trust the Steam Cloud with anything. Like, you gotta make backups of that shit. Steam Cloud is weird. It works most of the time, but every now and then, the Steam Cloud's like, nah, I'm not saving that. We're losing that. I need to get this stupid rover out of this pit so that I can retension the winch. I mean, that's up to you. I mean, if this looks interesting to you, consider giving it a shot. It'll be a little slow to start off with, but there's new things to do. You lost your Isaac save? Oh god, I'm sorry. Never trust the Steam Cloud. Let's get the music up again. I'm going to play that every single time I see that tab. Instead of just shuffle this time. We're gonna probably end the stream pretty soon here. I'm just gonna do a little bit of exploring on Glacia. Activate a couple gateways. So speaking of gateways, where are we? We are nowhere near a gateway. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over now. I didn't feed the snails, but I could actually just use the gateways to get back home and top them off real quick. So once again, let's flip over the rover, but put it under a little less tension so it's not quite as wily. And we can use that to just fly locally. That should be good, right about there. You just kind of have to eyeball it with this. I don't have a very good visual aid for where to put this, other than kind of in this spot, like relative to the pipes on either side. It usually works. It's a little inconsistent. This game is wacky like that. Alright, so we have a rover that should be able to fly, but it should not lose control while I'm screwing around on Glacia. And our goal here is to go light up the gateway, so I need to find a ramp-like surface. And just go on a little ride. There's a gateway. Let's go light that one up. And this is a reasonably fast way to get around the planet if you know how to control it. If you're constantly losing control, then like, yeah, this is going to suck, and it's not going to be efficient at all. Especially when you get the front end of the vehicle wedged in the dirt all the time. But if you have any marginal amount of control over this thing, this is a fairly decent way to light all the gateways in case you were trying to get this achievement. Realistically, you're probably better off just flying around with the hoverboard and a rocket, like in your hands, but you know, you do what you want. You play the game to have fun, and if this looks like fun, then give it a shot. Let's see if this is enough power. It is not enough power. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 RTGs. Let's see. I have the snail that's like worth another RTG worth of power. Where is it? It's this one. There we go. Okay. The snail and the RTGs collectively are enough, so I don't have to worry about that. This snail, I think, produces 6 power is what somebody told me, and it seems kind of accurate. That was probably about 6. So that means Glacia is probably 25 or 26, maybe 24 as far as power demand is concerned. I don't remember. They changed these, I think, in an update, and I've never relearned the values. Okay, got it. That's 1. The reason why we have this platform here, by the way, is because the throughput on these power slots, on these rovers, for some reason, is like fucking 3 per second, which is not the 25 per second that I need to power this gateway. So basically, the rover won't power the gateway. It's just not like powerful enough. I don't know why the throughput on the rovers is so low. It really shouldn't be. But, oh well, it is what it is. Alright, so while we have this, let's go to the core and see if this was the one that we needed. So I'm going to make a real quick trip to the satellite. I'm also going to stop by to get more hydrazine. So let's go to the satellite and see which ones we need. And I'll have to go back, I'll grab the resources because I forgot to put them in my backpack. And again, we're not going to finish the game now, I just want to get the last slots filled out. Spoiler alert, I guess, for anyone who doesn't know about this. So let's see, that's Glacia. Novus and Bisania, maybe? Okay, which one is this actually? This is the wrong one is what it is. This one is Calidor. That's Novus, I think. Novus, I believe, requires the silicone. Oh, this ramp is because I landed a rover here once when I was flying around in space, and I had to sacrifice that ramp in order to get off of the satellite. But you can get to the satellite by flying through the void of space, just like everything else. So, fun fact. Where's Caldor? That one should be... This one's Caldor. The little symbols are different. It's hard to intuitively guess which one it is. I mean, the Aatrox one looks like a biohazard symbol. The rest of them, Glacial kind of looks like ice crystals, and you're just going to have to wing it for the rest of the crystals. Okay, my home base is on Gateway 3, I believe. This one. You just have to memorize this stuff. I don't have a better guideline for it than just remembering which gateway you built your base at. Oh, by the way, this is here. I did this on another stream. If anyone's curious how I did this, I do have a highlight on my channel. Or not, yeah, like a highlight, like a 4-minute highlight of how I got this on Caldor instead of the solo. And it was interesting. I think it's worth a watch if you're curious. Because I basically used a flying machine, much like the one you saw me use, to tow that through space to this planet. It also has Interstellar music on it, so I mean, if you weren't sold, you get to listen to Interstellar while I'm doing it. It was perfect. The timing worked out for everything. I need to feed the snails and grab more hydrazine, is what I'm here to do. So let's get the hydrazine first. Feed the snails. This is not going to be sustainable, but again, off stream, I am going to build the rest of these. Since you've seen one, you've seen it all. I don't think I need to make everybody sit through the rest of that. And let's head back over. I wonder... Okay, I have an interesting question. This thing takes a photo. I wonder if it has a countdown before it takes the picture. Can I open the orb? Can I take the photo and then get to the core of the planet before it takes the picture? No, not even close. However, you can see the sphere that the game generates around you when you're going through these gateways, because it literally just draws a giant sphere. So there you go, that's interesting. I wonder if there's a way to trigger that with automation. What I wanted to see was whether the game would point the camera to the center of the planet to take the picture if I got there before it triggered. But unfortunately, I did not get to actually see it do that. That'll be something to dig around with later. That could be interesting. Like, I wonder if you teleport to another planet before it goes off, like if you have it automated, if it would just point to wherever you are in space. But I'm guessing you can't actually automate that. Alright, so let's go back to Glacia, which is this one. The little jitter that you saw right there is when the game actually teleports you. It's all smoke and mirrors. Alright, so we have 2 of these lit up. The North Pole is the one I think I just activated because my base is on the equator. So this will get us back to the rover. Excellent, and the rover has not flown away, even though I forgot to untension the winch. It gets finicky sometimes, but I think it's fine. And we need diamond, silicone, and maybe graphene, but I'm pretty sure it's silicone that we need. We'll bring back the one that we don't use. Close the backpack, I don't need that open. Okay, back we go. Reach this from down here. Camera, please. I need to pick this up. Why is my character a solid interactable object? Oh my goodness gracious. Get this, please, game. Come on. Nope, go up there. Oh god. Oh, Jesus. Okay, fine. Okay, game, fine. You win. I'll go over there and place it. Super Mario Galaxy this ain't. This is like Super Mario Galaxy if it was made by like one person on a budget. It's like, oh, we'll have the gravity flip, sort of. Never mind, we don't really know what we're doing here. Just wing it. Anyways, I'm gonna grab this off the ceiling with my terrain tool. And we need this in the core. Or not in the core, in the satellite. But to be fair, this game is basically Super Mario Galaxy on a budget. It's an indie dev team that made this game. They didn't have the technology or the resources to actually make this functional. They tried, an attempt was made. But the gravity inversions are not very good in this game. It does not handle it well, and I'm not going to pretend that it does. Alright, so the other place we want to go is Novus, I believe. Let me double check. So that one has the Triforce, and the Novus has the circles on it. Yeah, so the Triforce planet there is Visania, and then Novus is just the one orbiting, the one with the Triforce on it. Okay. Wait for the game to decide when my feet are actually on the floor. Maybe I could just go to the surface. Wait, no, I didn't need to go to the surface. That was my bad. I forgot that I'm already in the spot I need to be. The gravity confused me. It disoriented me. Go back to Novus. Fun fact, I didn't click on this node. I was trying to go to the surface of Novus, which I also didn't need to go to, and the game decided I clicked on the satellite. And I wasn't trying to click on the satellite, but the game did what it did. Alright, come on. Flip me over. There you go. Alright, it was silicone. That's what I thought. Graphene is Visania's material. These are the same in every playthrough, so once you've done them once, if you memorize them, which I have, you can just automatically know what to bring to the core of the planet to activate it. And then you need a second one to activate the satellite. Which again, we're not going to do right now, I'm just storing them there for later. This is going to be the end of like the series on my stream is when I'm going to activate this. I could do it now, you're not like soft locked out of your save or anything. The sequence that happens when you do this is not honestly all that interesting. So that's part of why I'm going to just use it as the finale, because it's kind of anticlimactic after you're done. And you do the finale sequence by interacting with that big, like, icosahedron over there, and then it's just like, oh, that's it? At least that's how I felt the first time I saw it. So we're not going to do that right now, that's for a future stream. If you really want to see that, I mean, just go watch a video on YouTube of it, but we will do it eventually on this stream. Just don't get super excited, it's really not that interesting. Alright, so back to our rover, which is hopefully not flown away while I was not there. They usually don't do that anymore. I think they patched most of the issues that caused that to happen. It still happens on the satellite, however. If you park a rover on the satellite, which is not a very common use case, and then you leave, when you come back, your rover is probably not going to be there anymore. So, you've been warned, chat. Anyone who's dumb enough to do that, like me, because that's how I found out. Alright, so I'm looking for a ramp. And let's get the compass open as well. My game's starting to crust a little bit with the lag. I'm gonna probably need to lower the graphical quality pretty soon here. I think I have enough things going on that the CPU is having trouble. So I'm getting a little bit of lag as I fly around here. We'll see. If that becomes a consistent problem, I'll go ahead and lower the quality of this. Not the stream, but the quality of the game. Alright, so there's a gateway over there. Let's see which one this is. We're gonna activate these and then probably call it on the stream, so enjoy the ride. I think there's 4 more that I need to do on this planet. I'm just doing them piecemeal. I don't want to like do them all in one stream because it's going to take like 7 hours of just flying around. This will get boring after a while, but hopefully this is kind of fun to watch. Especially when I completely missed the thing I'm aiming for and had to go back for it. I'm going for the gateway that's over there right now. Friendly reminder that this vehicle is extremely difficult to control. And if you're wondering what the control scheme is when you're in the air, it is pitch and roll. So pitch as in move it up or down, roll as in left or right like that. It does not have yawing, which would be turning left and right. So those are the controls I'm working with, which are pretty typical for like flight games, which I have not played very many of, so I'm probably better at flying things in this game than I am in some actual flight simulators. But that said, We are having trouble getting this thing to land on the gateway that we want. I'm gonna go ahead and let it touch the ground and then take off again so I can sort of reorient myself. Once it gets out of control, it's sometimes better to just touch down and just kind of go with it. Oh yeah, it's one of the starship horns. Yeah, we can pick those up later. I don't want to get out of the rover. Okay, this is gonna be it for real. Part of the problem here is I'm not turning around halfway to the destination. I should be doing this and trying to like basically force myself to the ground when I'm close to it rather than overshooting it. There we go, that's much better. In case it wasn't also obvious, the rover goes faster on the ground as well because it's just going forward at all times. Come on, right up here. Good enough. Let's get this one up. Again, I wish I could use the rover to power the gateway, but I cannot. As far as I'm aware, this is the only way to do it, like, reliably. Honestly, the fact that I have, like, I've been dealing with trains and I live on a desert planet is the only reason I have this dance right now. It's kind of horrible, but I love it. It's endearing. I forgot to put the snail. I've been wasting my time. Come on, game. Let me grab the snail. Why does the seed have such a big hitbox? Okay, now we can dance. Gangnam Style will never die. It's done. Package it up. Onward. Okay, so I just did an equator gateway. Let me see if I can figure out which one it is so I can figure out what direction to go in next. I've done north. We're here, we need to go east along the equator to get to these two gateways. Equator 4 is where my base is, and then we go to the South Pole from there. Okay, so I gotta book it east. I have a plan. Will I actually execute on it? Who knows? Find the nearest ramp and take off. This time, hopefully I don't overshoot the gateway by a huge margin and have to turn around in midair. There it is. Alright, so let's turn around now and see if we can land on it. We still have the pull of gravity from the planet because we're too close to the surface, so I'm not like in free fall right now, so it's much easier to get back to the surface. But once I pass that arbitrary threshold where the gravity turns off, basically I just keep flying into the void of space, and I have to turn around to stop the vehicle. And then possibly overshoot in the other direction. I really would rather not land in these. I want to go over there. Stay upright. Stay upright. Come on. Come on. Don't do this. There we go. Stuck the landing. Let's get our things. Where did I put the... Okay, if I forget this platform, I'm in trouble, because I gotta go back for it or get a new one. Oh, well, here's something fun you can do if you want to lose items. I mean, not really. It generally does not propel things high up enough to actually lose them. It's just funny looking. If you put a rover on that, though, who knows where your rover is going to wind up, so careful if you do that. I should probably put the snail on my backpack just in case I need the power. Oh, we'll wait for this, obviously. We gotta keep going east, head south, and then we are done with Glacia. We'll probably head home and call it on the stream. I'm so confident I'm not even gonna check. I've never been wrong before. That would never happen. Where's the nearest ramp? It's hard to use these little things as ramps. I kind of need something bigger. The wreckage over there. I could use that, but I think I'll find... Yeah, here's a ramp. I can use this. I love the aesthetic of this planet. I've always been a sucker for like ice-themed like worlds and planets and video games. Probably because I live in Arizona. I basically live on the surface of the sun in real life, so I yearn for what I don't have. This is pretty good. We're landing pretty close. Never mind. No, we're not. We're not landing close at all. I was going way faster than I thought. Okay, it's one of the rings. Kerbal Space Program is not the only game where you can fly through giant rings. Arches. I say that as though there's not a lot of other games that have that, but they're both spacey themed games. What is that marking? Oh, that's there's a probe over there. Okay, this was not a very good landing. We kind of scuffed this one. And by we, I mean me specifically. Nobody in chat is responsible for this. I'm not even going to try to blame chat. I'm just going to keep blaming it on the fact that these are really hard to control and just leave it at that. And you know what, if anybody in chat wants to try this out, like it's on the stream, you can see how to make a flying machine like this, and then you too can understand my plight and how difficult it actually is to get this thing to go where you want it to consistently. So is it hard. Even when you're driving it on the ground, I'm holding back more often than forward. Because I need this thing to stop moving. It is going too fast, and if it hits a bump, it takes off, but it doesn't take off in a way that I can fly it. It takes off, it tumbles, and then it lands again, upside down. And I lose control of it like that. That's the opposite of flying. That's not what we want. Can you settle, please? Just touch down. Just touch the ground. All you have to do is land. Okay, good enough. The plant can't do anything. I have the snail. It gives me invincibility. Snail's kind of OP. Still haven't died in this playthrough, though. That might be partially because I have that snail. But I don't know if it saved me from a death that like would have otherwise been an accidental death. Like I feel like I haven't let myself take lethal fall damage except like with the premeditated intent to utilize the snail. I haven't had a situation where I accidentally took damage and then thought to myself, wow, I'm glad I had that snail. Alright, so we got just one more of these on the South Pole. Then we'll fly back home and we'll be good to go. We'll call it on the stream. I'll just wonder where my life went wrong when I decided that I needed to be streaming Astroneer at 4 AM. And then I'll probably do the same exact thing in a few days, because that's just how I live my life. Put that bad boy there. Grab this. Plenty of packages. Package up the platform. Never mind, I already put one on the platform. Okay, and that plant is twitching at me, and we're off. For some reason, the plants just don't, like, aggro if you're in a vehicle. Except specifically, I think one of them does. I think one of the ones that shoots at you will fire at vehicles, and none of the other ones do, and I have no idea why it's like that. The other ones just kind of forget that you exist and won't do anything. It's kind of odd. Some of them could probably hurt you even on the vehicle, so I don't know why they don't do it. And there's the last gateway. Let's see if we can land on this one. Can I at least like stick a landing on one of them? What was? No. We scuffed it. I gave myself too much air. I should have flipped in the opposite direction. Still, this is probably the best landing we've had so far because I didn't tumble. I just need to ramp up off of this macaroni and get right up into the gateway. Oh, yep, that's gonna pop the tires for sure. A good thing I got Allstate. Funny car insurance joke. It really wasn't very funny. Don't laugh. I don't deserve it. Alright, here we are, the last one. This time I remembered to put the snail on it in advance. I'm learning. I'm getting it. So, let's see here. I believe I've activated all the gateways on Aatrox. All of them on Glacio. I think I've done all the ones on Calidor. This is something I can check off stream so I don't waste everyone's time. Maybe still, I might actually have them all. I'll check this off stream because it just consists of me going to each planet and checking one of the orbs to see if I have all the gateways, but that is something I want to check on. I might have actually done them all, or nearly all of them. I may not have done Vissania. That's probably the planet that I haven't done yet, if there's any of them missing. It's probably Vissania, because I kind of haven't gone there at all. I went there to do a couple essentials to find the vintage probe, and then I left and never returned because Vissania is a wretched place with terrible level geometry. Okay, folks, so let's go home. Same thing as the diagram that I showed before, except in reverse. So we are not that one. Don't look at that. We are on Glacia. We need to get to Calidor. I'm going to, I think, just go to Silva and then go to Calidor because it should be easier to find Silva, and there are a few things that render in the void of space even when the planets are invisible. One of those things seemed to be the rails for the train update, and for whatever reason those just show up from any distance, so I can just kind of fly into space and then go look for the rails. And the planet that has the most of them is probably Calidor, and I know Silva has some. Oh, whoa, now I didn't expect to actually bank a turn and get flight from that. That was unexpected. But anyways, I'll just kind of go towards the rails and see what happens here. So we're on the South Pole, which is the side that Calidor is on. So it's going to be on this side of the plane here, of the galactic plane, which is level with the solar system in this game. Now that said, sometimes the rails don't render. It's not 100% consistent, I'm not sure why. So I'm not going to be 100% dependent on that, because they might not pop in when I want them to. But I've noticed that in general, once you've been to a planet, they seem to always show up. So I just kind of got to look around for them, see if I can spot them in the distance. They might unload if you're having like lag issues. I'm not really sure what controls that. Okay, we're free of the gravity of the planet now, so I can look around a little bit. Not seeing anything. If all else fails, I know how to get to Silva fairly consistently. Okay, where do we wind up? We're on Novus. That's not the worst thing that could have happened here. Let me check my diagram again. Okay, Novus, so it's between Glacio and Novus, so I didn't overshoot Silva entirely, which I suppose makes sense. I would have seen Silva along the way. Okay, there we go. That's Silva over there. So that little thing there that probably is really, oh god, really hard to see, especially when my camera snaps away from it. That thing right there is the satellite that you start the game in. I'll try to show that more clearly as I get closer to it. The camera is fighting me, chat, by the way. I'm not pulling the camera like that. The game is doing this on its own. When you see the camera behaving, that's because I'm actively controlling it. But the second I let go of it, it starts doing shit like this, where it starts twitching. This is incredibly hard to control these. I cannot stress this enough. If you're going to do this in your save, do it in creative mode first, because you might lose your rover to the void of space if you can't get a handle on it. But that right there is the starting satellite that the game like shows you in the main menu. It's just always there. And you can actually fly past it. I forget whether it has solid collision. I'll try to hit it with the rover, but no promises. Alright, so back to that. There we go. That's actually still done. Let's see if I can. Where is it? I lost it. I don't know where it is anymore. The camera snapped and I lost track of it. Alright, so anyways, the home base is up in that direction. I can't find the satellite anymore. Oh, that'll be a project for a future time. I have a better rover that uses hydrazine, so that's easier to control. And I'll probably use that if I want to go to the satellite just for shits and giggles. For now, however, we're going to go over there. That's Aatrox. Let's ignore that. Don't look at that. We're going to continue going in the direction that I said I was going to go, which is over here. And I lost sight of it again. Whatever, I can just keep going. This should get me where I want to be eventually. I think if I go far enough, it'll switch to Calidor, which is what we're aiming at. I think Calidor is actually over there. You can't see this, chat, because that's 720p on the stream, but I have 1080p, and I can see the rails over in this area. So, like, I know what I'm aiming for now. Took me a long time to get there. It might be too high. Oh, there we go. Yep, there's Calidor. Not the cleanest trip. Definitely did better on the way out than the way back in, but the home base is over there on this side of the planet, and that is what we're aiming for. Will I hit it? Probably not. Will I hit the planet? Also probably not. But eventually we're going to land. I'm still in the process of counteracting the velocity I had to escape Aatrox. So what I'm going to want to do is get kind of in the correct direction and then turn around and just boost away in the hopes that I can kind of zero out my speed right as I get to where I want to be on the surface. The alternative is that I just dive bomb the planet, which honestly might be funnier, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Let's just dive bomb the planet. Just hit it at maximum speed, see how badly we can wedge the rover into the ground. I'm less likely to miss if I try to do this. I believe there is drag in the void of space, so there is a limit to how much speed I can gather, but it is a lot of speed. Like, we are going hella fast right now. So let's see how hard we touch down before the level geometry has time to load in. Nope, didn't wedge. Sometimes it takes a long time to load in and you just like wedge into the planet. This time it didn't get stuck. It actually loaded in before I touched down, which is convenient because I don't have to dig the rover out now. Luckily, the vehicles cannot take damage in this game, or that would be really bad. They can get blown up by dynamite, but like they don't care if you litho break, which is basically what I'm doing here. Easy video game. All things considered, I'm actually quite happy with how that landing turned out, after how much trouble I had getting here. I'm trying to get onto the tarmac of my base here. So the fun thing that happens here is when you press down on your keyboard, you go back when you're on the ground. Like your down button. Like WASD, that should be S. But when you're in the air controls, down is pitch up. So what happens is, if I'm trying to hold back, and I go off of a ramp, that switches to pitch up, which causes me to fly further and lose control like this if I continue to hold back. Which is why it is actually very difficult to crest a sharp hill, as shown there. Unless I switch to pressing forward the second the game switches to air controls, which the game does more or less randomly a short time after you leave the ground. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes to make this thing vaguely controllable. But you know what, it's still fun to do it. And that's why I go out of my way to do this. Was there any reason for me to use a flying machine for this? No, not really. But you know, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to show things that maybe people haven't seen before. Hopefully somebody tries this out. Hopefully they don't try it out in their survival save, where it'll probably lose their rover and their lives. But you know what? You take your own risks, chat. You do what you want. I think we're all done here. So, we're going to wrap up the stream at this point. Let me start checking who I'm going to raid, and I will give a summary of what I'm probably going to do off stream for anybody who's invested in the riveting tale of Cosine Plays Astroneer. So is anyone on? Is Nebgol on? Is anyone? He's probably going to end stream soon. He's playing Terraria. No, I raided him yesterday. Maybe I'll raid somebody else. Somebody who's playing Spelunky. I think I'll raid somebody else. I see somebody who's probably going to be on for a little while. They're playing Spelunky, which is completely different from this game, so all good if you don't want to watch them, but I'll get to the raid in a moment here. So basically, between streams, I'm going to clean this up. This is the design I'm going to build. The one that I have right here, I'm going to copy this 4 more times. I'm probably going to use these canisters of resources to mass produce like a shitload of these gizmos here, so that in future streams you don't have to watch me carrying individual zincs to the printers to make more of them. So I'll save everybody that grind. Things I'm not going to do off stream. I'm not going to set up any new harvesting, so this is most likely going to be for quartz, graphite, or tungsten. We'll do that on stream. I'm not going to research like any new tech for how to set up these infrastructures here. I will probably launch a few of these just for the hell of it, because nobody really cares what I get from these. You need a couple skins or something. And besides that, the goal of this save before I like call it quits on streaming this game is just automate everything. I want to have a factory that can gather every resource and automate everything, like just without me having to do anything, and have like a big wall of like storage racks that have every material on them. Like, that's the tentative plan. If that ends up being super boring, I might not go through with the whole thing, but it's been interesting so far. And with the addition of the rails, it's a lot less tedious to move things around, and I think that'll introduce a few interesting challenges to solve. Stuff like, how do I sort all like 36 different like minerals that are in this game? Because there are like 36 of them or something. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'll try to keep things interesting, mix it up a little bit, do occasional flights with the rover. And besides that, I have to fix my power infrastructure. So we got a few things in store, but the only thing I'm going to do off stream is probably fix the plants by updating the other 4 of them. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here.